All right. After much waiting, we can finally use this.
Right. Did we update PowerPoint?
Yeah, we had to update PowerPoint after much
Are you sure?
waiting.
Are there more updates we might have?
All right, so I was like, okay, so we're gonna start the stream. Like, you know what? I should probably restart my computer before we start streaming because I mean I haven't restarted in like a week. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I'll just turn it off. And then I like as I'm clicking the button, it's like, oh, restart with updates. I'm like, yeah, I should probably do that. And then those updates literally took a half an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because like Windows updates are cool, and also from my knowledge, they're not useful. But yeah, anyway, this time around we actually have an updated, cool little graphical thing that you'll be able to, and by that I mean Mike threw all the card images in a PowerPoint so that we can like flick through them and we don't have to like be on the website looking at them
Yep, basically, I thought
while we
it'd be
talk
cool.
about them. Yeah, so it's a better setup.
All right, well, like a lot of people are already here, so I think we'll get right into it.
Yeah, so Kaladesh, new set.
Kaladesh. All right.
Zoop.
Oop. All right. So yeah, I've got it the same order as it was last time. So
Yep.
it'll just be through the colors and whatnot. So all right, acrobatic maneuver. Exile target creature you control. Turn that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control and draw a card. So it's a flicker with a cantrip attached.
Yeah, okay. Good point to note on this is it brings it back under owner's control, not your control.
Oh,
Uh,
all right.
that's just something I always want to note because all flickers work differently. Like this one is an instant flicker, like it doesn't wait until end of turn.
That's very true.
Um, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
I, cantrips are. Yeah, I mean, I'll basically say anything's all right if it has a cantrip on it, but
Right. I love card drawing and I love Restoration Angel, and this is, the flicker effect on the Resto Angel, so that's nice. Also we're going to see the set has a lot of cards this can flicker for positive effect. So yeah,
I kind of assumed there would be. Also, I really like the swirl mountains. They're pretty
that's
sweet.
that's cool as heck. Like we
I,
got the
that's actually one thing as I was doing this. I really didn't look at any of the cards' text, so that'll still be new. But I love the artwork in this set.
this set has some supreme style. I like that the acrobatic maneuver in question is this lady here is like on the outside of like some sort of flying, I don't know, like acrobatics of like trying to connect this like pipe to the beam energy outside, you know.
She's just trying to plug in her flying machine.
Right,
All
right.
right.
So good stuff. All right, next we have Aerial Responder. This one is a familiar
Uh,
looking card.
yeah, it'll never be as good as Vampire Nighthawk, but this is about as good as you get.
Yeah, so we got the 3 mana 2/3 with three keywords: flying, lifelink, and vigilance rather than death touch. A plus would play in every situation. The like
Yeah,
vigilance isn't going to be better than death touch, but also it's better than death touch in some situations.
it's going to make him. I think this makes him a lot more viable in the early game because, all right, like when you first play him, like even when you're playing Vampire Nighthawk, you were attacking because that's what you did with Vampire Nighthawk. But in this case, you also get a defense against every Baron Piker in the world.
Right, or these 1/1 tokens we might be seeing around, or just the fact that a 2/3 flyer is basically not going to die to like what's going to beat a 2/3 flyer at 3 mana, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It is a dwarf strapped to a hot air balloon.
Yeah, I would like to point out that if that was a goblin, this card would be awful.
Yeah, this is going to be an impossible fucker in limited. That's
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I'm looking forward to playing this tomorrow.
I am too. Well, I guess I won't be playing tomorrow, but I look forward to playing.
Okay, all right.
All right, we got the Aether Storm Rock, 4 mana, 3/3 flying. When
Okay.
it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get an energy counter. which I'm assuming will be useful, especially on this card.
Hmm.
Whenever Aether Storm Rock attacks, you can pay 2 energy. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it and tap up to one target creature defending player controls. It's a
So
mouthful.
first things first, just looking at the card itself. The card itself is a 4 mana 3/3 flyer. Like if we ignore the energy, like
Right.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, so it makes its own little. So energy is a major mechanic in this set. Um, we're gonna see it in every color and a bunch of artifacts, and the way it works is basically every card that uses it also is going to have some way of generating it so that the card works on its own, but there's going to be a bunch of cards that generate and you can use it in a bunch of different ways. um it acts like I've been comparing it to Netrunner credits.
Sure.
They just sit there. You have them. They don't empty at the end of the turn or end of the phase or anything like that. You just get them. They are in a pool, and you can spend them whenever an ability allows you to.
I mean, you literally play one guy after you've played this thing, and this guy turns into a 4/4 flyer for 4 mana.
Yeah, that gets to tap their best blocker.
Yeah.
And if you have a continuing way to produce energy, either by this thing's ability or some other way, this continues to grow out of like out of reasonable
Right.
size.
If you have enough energy creation here, this guy literally just gets to like tap your opponent's team.
Well, you can't. You can't. It's a trigger and it does it once. Like you can't
Oh,
pay.
okay, all right. That makes
Yeah,
him fair. I suppose we have to have fair.
yeah. Very important. Energy is. It sits around. It's permanent. It will never go away unless you spend it. Like we theorized, maybe there's cards in the set that no, there is no way that your energy empties outside of your spend. So
Wait,
anyway, open this card, play this card.
yeah, every time. All right, first mythic. It's a 5 mana piker, so
Oh,
not the
sweet.
best start.
Let's see if the text helps out.
All right, buying vigilance lifelink. They seem to like that. Also, dear God, look at all these swords.
She's got a lot of swords.
All right, fabricate. When it enters the battlefield, put 2/1/1 counters on it, or 2 servo artifact creature tokens. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Uh, I don't know how I would use that fabricate on this card.
Right, so you could play it two different ways. Like, okay, so Fabricate is the second of our three major mechanics in the set, energy being the first. Fabricate is number two, and Fabricate is a binary either X +1/+1 counters on the creature or X 1/1 artifact tokens. You don't get to like in between. You can't go like you can't be like, oh, I'll put one counter on it and one creature in play. It's no, it's one or the other.
Right.
Yeah, on this card it's difficult because like the 1/1s immediately get the +1/+1 from the ability, so you get like your flying anthem plus 2/2/2s, or you can have your flying anthem that's actually a powerful flyer. I think it's probably going to depend on how easy it is for your opponent to kill a 1 toughness creature.
Yeah.
Like leaving this around as a 1 toughness creature
I
would be.
just the way this card looks and the way it feels, I feel like it needs to have first strike.
You're getting the Baneslayer feelings here.
Well, I am. Also, I mean, if it has first strike, I would be much more apt to making those tokens.
Hmm. I think it's definitely incredibly powerful. Like
Yeah,
just be an anthem on a
right. No, yeah. Don't get me wrong. This thing is still ridiculous. I will again be in white if I pick this. Um, I don't know. I mean, anytime I've seen something with that many swords, it usually has first strike.
Yeah, that's true. Is the vigilance from the swords? Is that like obviously? Oh, look at that hat. That's a really large hat.
Maybe that's why it doesn't have first strike. It has to keep its hat up.
Yeah, like look, you can kind of see like the head of the angel there, but then all of a sudden, like there's this like mech hat thing. I mean, it is the angel of invention. Maybe it made some sort of cool apparatus.
Also, they're not bad swords because he has to turn what the swords into the tokens. Otherwise, he gets to keep them in his inventory.
Oh, is that it? That's got to
Yeah,
be it.
that's gotta be it.
You lose two of the swords, and then okay. But yeah, cool card. Yeah, fabricate. It's let's see other rules, things we should care about. I should say about fabricate now. It's a when this creature enters the battlefield trigger, which means they can respond with a kill spell
Okay,
before
sure.
before it gets the counters.
Okay,
Um, that in that instance, you're probably not going to choose the counters because you choose on resolution.
okay.
But that does mean like if your opponent has a pinger or something like this card immediately dies to it. But you'll get the 2/1/1s.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind in limited against fabricate card. This card that they're fabricate in general. They don't want to. No, that's basically it. I mean, yeah, there's a flicker in this set. You could flicker, make the fabric, like flicker it or play this, make the 2/1/1s, and then flicker it, and then make it a 4/3 the second time. So,
All right.
all right.
The authority of the councils.
Okay. This
All
is
right.
a one mana enchantment.
One of my enchantments. Sorry, I'd be willing to splash that already. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. That's pretty sweet. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, you gain a life. That's like the most control card I've ever seen in my entire life.
Funnily enough, I was actually going to say the opposite. This is the card that you really want if you're the aggressive deck, right?
Alright, so if you're playing white to play Authority of the Councils, I think that's what we're getting at, because they basically have two decks.
I think it's much more the aggro than the control in my mind because your opponent can't play blockers.
Right.
Like they can't. Like I've been playing with Thalia in uh was it the new Thalia from Eldritch Moon has the same sort of text. Your opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tapped, and it is so annoying when that's in play and you're like, I need to be able to, like, what the heck? I need to play a blocker and I just can't. This isn't on a body, so like it's a little worse at that rate, but
It's still only one mana.
it is one mana. If you can basically if you play this on one, you're going to gain something like 10 life over the course of the game. I don't know. It barely does anything in multiples. I guess in multiples you gain more life, but
Yeah.
I don't, anyway.
Yeah, alright. It's okay. We'll see how... It's one of those that I'll kind of see how it goes once we start playing it.
Right.
Built to last. This was... I really like this card. I like it a lot. Alright, so it's a combat trick. One mana. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and if it's an artifact, it gains indestructible.
That's
That's a good combat trick.
yeah. So they've been giving white the +2/+2 for one for quite some time now. We've seen it in I think every block for the last like year and a half, maybe longer, and this is pretty good. Indestructible's pretty damn powerful for one.
Yeah.
The set has the artifact creatures to make it work.
I mean, I would probably honestly play this unlimited with just one mana +2 to a dude.
Right, I would probably as well because I have a really big love for one mana combat tricks because of how uh sneaky they are.
Exactly.
Like all they've got is a plains. Oh no! Like I've so one mana combat tricks are always worth taking a look at. And we'll have to see how many like cheap combat tricks we have in this set. So
Yeah. All right.
all right,
Captured by the Consulate. 4 mana enchantment.
okay.
Aura. Enchanted creature you don't control. It can't attack. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if it's a single target, change the target to enchanted creature if able. So if it basically like blocks a kill spell,
Well, okay, so you have like a fake pacifism, right? Like
right? They can
it's
still
sort of
block.
right. They can still block, so that's why I say fake pacifism. But then also, if they want to play a kill spell or a pump spell or anything out of their hand, they can't because it has to target this creature.
Right.
So like, I mean, they can obviously do it. It just won't do anything. So like, if they have built to last in their hand, they can only use it as a defensive combat trick on that creature. If they have a kill spell in their hand, they have to kill their own creature. So that's what we have as the power here.
Th- This card, I think, well, it's going to be kind of hard. I think you're going to have to finesse it because of the like it can still block thing. But I also think this card would be unreasonable if it said it couldn't block.
Right, then they couldn't get rid of it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a goofy flag bearer. Also of note, this card has a special thing on the bottom, uh, down by the artist and such. It has a story spotlight 2 of 5, and then mtgstory.com. Uh, this is something they started doing in this set where they have like big old story moments get like they've been doing this for a while where big story moments get a card. Anguished Unmaking, which was the black white kill spell from Eldritch Moon, was one of those where it's like, this is Sorin killing Avacyn. It's a big moment in the plot. Uh, this is one of those cards. It's Pia Nolar, who's Chandra's mother, being captured by the consulate,
Oh.
who's apparently being run by Tezzeret, a character we may know from previous sets.
Which is kind of funny because Tezzeret is very artifact.
Yes,
Mhm.
makes sense.
All right.
So.
All right. One of the first Gear Hulks. This guy, also that art, Jesus, he's holding a hammer. There's a bunch of people sitting on it.
That was some good scale. Oof.
Right? All right, so 5 mana, 4/5 vigilance is already pretty good in my book.
All right.
All right, when Cataclysmic Gear Hulk enters the battlefield, the player chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents he or she controls, sacrifices the rest.
So we have not only a this like big body, a 4/5 vigilance for 4, which is for 5, which is pretty dang big. This is effectively I mean, it's called cataclysmic because it's calling back to the spell cataclysm,
Mhm.
which did the same thing, but it did include lands, which made it hyper garbage bullshit. But this one's on a body, and so say your opponent has like the big team. This is the wrath,
Yeah.
Not only that, because it's an artifact creature, your side of the board is going to be better than your opponent's because you can choose this as your artifact to keep and then choose a different creature.
Right.
So you get 2 guys, and your opponent might not have an artifact creature, so they just get 1.
Yeah, I mean, 5 mana wraths on a dude. It's really hard to beat that.
Right? Oh man, I am in love. So this is a cycle, and we're gonna continue seeing this cycle, and they're all pretty dang good. This is the mega deuce.
I'm,
This is
I'm glad to hear that because usually when they have their cycles, like 3 of them are good. I'm glad to hear that they're all good.
I'd compare this cycle to the Titans,
Okay.
and in the Titans there isn't like, if someone asks you what's the bad Titan, you just kind of have to be like, like what's the bad Titan?
Right. I remember when when the Titans were first announced. I remember looking on Star City. Something they were like, "Yeah, we're selling these for $2 a pop," and I'm like, "Dear God, I just need to stock up on these because there's no way that thing stays at $2 forever."
Yeah, they're powerful. I believe they are all good. We'll see. We'll come to the others and see if what is the bad Titan. That varies day to day. I remember when the set first came out. It literally like Inferno Titan was thought of as maybe the worst of the 5,
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden you played with it, and like Inferno Titan could kill you like immediately because of that fire breathing, and also it can just keep getting small blockers out of the way. And it's like, well, maybe Frost. No, Frost answers all the other Titans pretty effectively, and like you obviously can't see Primeval because Primeval's like, yeah. So
Yep.
anyway,
All right. Consulate Surveillance.
All right.
4-mana enchantment. When Consulate Surveillance enters the battlefield, you get 4 energy.
Okay.
Solid. Pay 2, prevent all damage that will be dealt to you by a source. So it's only one source, but you just get to prevent damage from something.
Yep, you get to. So this has 2 activations from itself, and it's a like a circle of protection sort of thing.
Um,
Uh,
Depending on like how we see it in the rest of the card, as far as the energy stuff, this might be playable just to get the 4 energy.
right. This is very hard to evaluate in a vacuum, and we're kind of going to be saying this in. Uh, we're kind of going to be saying this about a lot of the energy cards, where it's like, well, in a vacuum, it's kind of hard to say is this great, is this bad, but I guess we can say that this one. I want to say on its own, this one isn't the greatest.
Um, I mean, at worst, you could call it a 1-mana extra tumble magnet.
Yeah, you're stopping 2 attacks, and not even just attacks. It's any source. So like you can stop lethal burn or something like that. Um, it's just like this is basically as good as like if you can actually get like good energy buildup, it's going to be really annoying to try to kill you through this. Is I guess the thing. Like,
Right.
man, that would be annoying to kill you through like this. Plus, like I have 12 energy, and it's like, what is this crap?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe you just want the 4 energy. Who knows?
Right. All right. Consul's Shield Guard. 4-mana 3/4. I like it already. That's a good body. When it enters the battlefield, get 2 energy. Still liking it.
Okay.
When it attacks, you can pay an energy. If you do, another target attacking creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Damn.
Yeah. So, all right, we've been. This is something I've kind of been talking about for a while. Is the death of Hill Giant. Uh, the
Yeah.
the 4-mana 3/3 no longer really is the standard. We live in the world where that you get kind of better than that. So we have a 3/4 that can hand off indestructible twice on its own. Like, and
Mhm.
that on its own is pretty dang good. You know.
Yeah, I mean, even that in a vacuum seems pretty fucking good to me.
Right. And then if this creature gets killed immediately, you still get the 2 energy to stick around. Or if
Or,
you have energy from somewhere else.
one thing to note, it does say another, so he can't give himself indestructible, which makes sense.
Unless you have a second copy, and then one hand washes the other, and
Oh god. Here comes the wall.
nice hammer there.
Right? Alright. Good card.
Yeah.
Alright. Eddy Trail Hawk. 2-mana 1/2 flyer. When it enters battlefield, get 2 energy.
Okay.
When it attacks, you may pay 1. If you do, another target attacking creature gains flying until.
We're seeing a theme in how white spends its energy here.
Yeah, hands off during attacks.
Yes, it gets it. Like we've seen 3 cards so far that get a single trigger when they attack, and this one, I mean,
I would definitely like. I don't again in a vacuum. Um, I I could definitely see me playing at least one of this in any deck just as a breaker.
right. This bird picks up your big creature that you need, like to get through. I mean, we're talking about Stormcrow though on its body, which it ain't the
It's
best.
right.
But again, I think the bit thing I like about these cards is like, say you play this and it's immediately answered, you still get, the 2 energy just sits around. Okay, whatever, that's fine.
Right.
If they kill Eddie, early, it's fine.
Also having like extra energy before you play your rock
Right.
seems pretty good.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, it also like TK Cat brings up it is a common, so you can actually like
Yeah.
get a decent amount of them. All right, Fairgrounds Warden, 3-mana 1/3, which is a little expensive. When Fairgrounds Warden enters the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls until. All right, so you O-ring a dude on a dude. Okay, it's not expensive anymore.
Yep, this is a friend called Fiend Warden, or I'm sorry, Fiend Hunter,
Hmm.
not Fiend Warden because this is the Warden. Yeah, so this is removal.
Yeah, straight up.
Sweet. I don't. Heck, it's even more splashable than Fiend Hunter. Fiend Hunter was double white.
Right? Green Hunter had a better body.
Uh,
Well, maybe.
no,
It had a different body.
Fiend Hunter was a 1/3. Banisher
Oh,
Priest
was it?
was a 2.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, good card. I mean,
yeah,
there's not a whole lot to say about O-Ring. We all know how that that goes, but
yeah, that's a
uh,
cuff I think they're holding.
yeah. Also, I like that the flavor text there. You're coming with me.
Like, okay, wait, so like, does the Fairgrounds Warden put the Gear Hulk in cuffs?
Damn.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, according to his text, he could.
Yeah, I guess so. All right.
All right, Fragmentize. 1 mana, destroy target artifact or enchantment, convert a mana cost 4 or less. Okay, this is, what is this card? Rachi's Grasp? Except it's sorcery instead of instant?
There's a no.
Oh, no, wait, I'm thinking life gain.
Yeah, life gain. This is just there was a card in the more recent set in green that did this for 3 or less, but that was an instant. So
As far as enchantments go, I don't think all the ones we've seen have been 4 or less.
yeah, and I think this is actually going to be quite powerful because we're in an artifact set. This is gonna have a target, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's colored artifacts, and then I think there's something like 50 or so artifacts on its own.
Well, so far this hasn't been able to hit the colored artifact we saw. You're not going to be
Well, okay,
hitting
fair.
You're going to feel kind of bad about the gear. Anyway, you put the artifact in the presser here, and that's it.
Yeah, I would play this. I would at least definitely draft it for a sideboard card in the set.
Yeah, and this is cheap enough to mainboard, so
Fumigate. All right, 5 mana. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed. All right, this is Wrath of God, but pays.
Mhm.
I think they've started doing this too because Wrath of God is just it's too cheap. Um, so they have to add one more, but nobody wants to spend 5 mana for the Wrath of God, so they put in some random little effect to make them feel better about themselves.
that's it in a nutshell. Like nobody really wants to cast the 5 mana wrath with no text, but like the 5 mana wrath with like this is actually a pretty dang good one as well because the upside of being like, okay, oof, clear the board, gain 6 life, and feel a lot better about my board position because I'm no longer dying, you know.
Right.
So like as far as wraths go, I'm pretty happy with this one.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Also, I'll play Rats Unlimited basically all the time. So,
Also that.
so.
All right, Gear Shift Ace. All
Mm.
right, I like this guy. This guy's sweet. Also, he is a dwarf pilot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2 mana, 2/1 with first strike. That's a hell of a piker.
Uh-huh.
And when Gear Shift Ace crews a vehicle, that vehicle gains first strike. Oh, until end of turn.
Yeah, so we aren't going to see vehicles for quite some time because they're all artifacts. But this is a card that's is that Lando? Yeah, it's Lando. Yeah, it's worth keeping this sort of card in mind because we're going to be seeing a lot of vehicles, and you can hand off first strike to them. So this card might not make sense quite yet until we hit them. But even like evaluating it without that last line of text, we have a 2/1 first strike. We have a Youthful Knight,
Yeah,
and
deal.
I'll take that every time in limited. And if I can hand off, I guess to quick explain vehicles, they are artifacts that come into play and aren't creatures until you tap like X power worth of creatures to turn them on
Right.
to pilot them. And so like you'll pay like 3 mana for a thing, and then you'll tap 2 power to turn it into like a 5/5 or something like that. And this gives it first strike, which that's pretty sweet. The 5/5, like,
Yeah.
so.
Wait. All right, giant sleeve. See what I mean about all these art? Like these guys are just awesome.
I like this a lot. Yeah.
All right, this guy's pretty simple, but 3 mana 2/2 with Fabricate 1. I mean that's just a solid body.
Right. So you're either getting a 3/3 with a +1/+1 on your 2/2, or you're getting a 1/1 to come with it.
So I mean, either way, you're getting 3 power. If you got like the the that 2/1 mythic that gives all your dudes +1/+1, yeah, you're probably just gonna make the servo. But
Right. But also, if it's just turn 3 and you're like, I want a 3/3, here you go.
or like President Arc says, servos are really good at driving cars.
Yeah. It is the yes, that is the glint sleeve, but that's also the giant sleeve. Look how huge that glove is. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
mess with Robo Tuskar. Awesome.
Definitely.
All right. Herald of the Fair. 3 mana 3/2. When Herald of the Fair enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +1/+1 end of turn. I I mean it's pretty bland, but I like it.
Yeah, this is middle of the road. This person has no job, even though they're like announcing the like what the heck? They're just human.
Yeah, we are a human.
We're not like okay. Anyway, yeah. uh, this is a good sort of like a filler sort of thing, and it's powerful at that.
Yeah.
Pump your flyer, get in, and it's a 3/2. So, I talked about the death of Hill Giant earlier. We also have the death of Gray Ogre, which continues to show off. Where Gray Ogre is a 3 mana 2/2. We don't live in the world of that anymore. We get like the last card was a 3 mana 2/2 that had like multiple modes, and this is a 3/2 with text. So
Usually the only 3 mana 2/2s you see are just going to be straight artifacts.
yeah,
So that way you can play them in whatever.
yeah, or with some ability. So
Nobody wants to hire him.
temp.
All right, impeccable timing. All right, this card, like I think I was talking to you about this before, Janice. That I feel like this card should be hybrid.
Like a red white hybrid.
Yeah, red white hybrid. So it's two mana instant. Deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Like the attacker blocking, that's white all the way. But this is burn.
Yeah, this is something though they have been doing a lot in just white lately. In Battle for Zendikar, they had this exact card that just dealt 4 damage instead, called
Okay.
called Gideon's Reproach. But also, what you're saying in the original Innistrad, there was a card called Burning Oil. Actually, I think it might that was red with white flashback. That was this card exactly, like
Awesome.
2 mana, but it was red, and then it had white flashback. So, like, yeah, this is sort of a actually, if you look up the card, I think it's Fire at Will. Fire at Will MTG. It's a hybrid card. Yeah, it's a hybrid card from Eventide that is red white hybrid, white hybrid, red white hybrid. Deal 3 damage divided as you choose among attacking or blocking creatures. So Wizards doesn't disagree with you.
All right, as long as they don't disagree with me. Um, yeah, okay, I'll let them. I'll let them have it. I mean, it's a kill spell. I will take it. I also, I mean, I definitely like it more than like kill target attacking or blocking creature that has 3 toughness. This has a lot more things you can do with it because you can still like block and make the trade, that kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a Johnny showing up and
Rah.
rah.
All right, Inspired Charge. This is a reprint, right?
Yeah,
This is Trumpet Blast. First?
yeah, you're paying 4, but you get a point of toughness. It's still an instant. However, Trumpet Blast is a card you always have to evaluate in the world it lives in. Like, there are some formats where Trumpet Blast effects, like Inspired Charge here, are not very good. Either the format doesn't have a lot of, you can't go wide in, or there's a lot of ways that make it bad. 1 toughness creatures aren't good. This is a format where we've seen Fabricate.
That's very true.
We've seen a lot of ways to go wide with your board. You make all these 1/1 tokens, and then you just go all out. Woof. So we might be in a world where this is a better card.
That's very true. I'll agree with that. Also, Again, dwarves make the best art.
Yeah, I like that dwarves are back.
Right? Alright, Master Trinketeer. Another 3 mana 3/2. Servos and Thopters you control get +1/+1. Alright.
All
That
right.
seems pretty good. Pay 4, create a servo. Deal.
Yeah, this is pretty dang powerful. We have an endless assembly line. This trinketer will create as many servos as you want, and they're 2/2s. Uh, this is a good as heck card.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I actually think this guy could see standard. Like, because this is like what control wants.
It depends on if there's a better way to do it on not a 2 toughness body, you know?
That's very true.
Like that's gonna be a hard sell if you like want to play this. I love mobilization type effects though in the control things. Yeah, it's a mana sink. That's probably its best.
Exactly. You can just sit back, hold up your counters. If they don't do anything, make a token.
Hmm. I'm excited for it.
All right, the ninth Bridge Patrol, 2 mana 1/1, so not a great start.
All right.
Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. That wait, just straight leaves, not even
These.
dies.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're familiar with the last set we were just in, we had Unruly Mob. Unruly Mob was a 2 mana 1/1 that said whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This doesn't need them to die. This just needs them to leave.
The
And
hell of a common.
and we've seen like the flicker, you know, the
Yeah.
cycling flicker that would be a +1/+1 for this. Or if it just gets removed from play or in any way other than dying, like this is pretty cool. Also, like Fabricate makes a bunch of 1/1 tokens and they die and this gets bigger.
Right. I like this guy. I like him a lot. Depending on your deck.
Yeah.
Pressure Point. 2 mana, top target creature, a draw card.
This is a reprint from Fate Reforged. It's either Fate Reforged or Dragons of Tarkir. It's from Khan's block.
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, this is cheap. This
Yeah,
is
it's a cantrip.
yeah, it says draw card and it gets a blocker out of the way or stops an attacker. I like the art that's like this like shadow of the Colossus dwarf being like, I need to poke this big cat monster thing under the chin because if you scritch the cat thing under the chin, it'll stop attacking.
Yep,
Also, the cat thing is like yeah, it's
it's a cat thing.
yeah.
All right, Propeller Pioneer. 4 mana 2/1, flying.
Mhm.
Fabricate 1. Yeah,
So we either have a 3/2 flyer, which is that I'll take that for 4, or a 2/1 flyer and a 1/1 body on the back.
sure. Yeah, I feel like I see what they're doing here.
Hmm.
I see very few cases where I'd make that servo on this card.
Yeah, I want to say a lot of the time, like if I'm playing a limited game, I want a powerful flyer over a thing on the ground a lot of the time.
Right, and that's kind of my problem. Like, so a lot of the ones we've seen so far have done a pretty good job at making it so that I actually have a decision when I do that. When I do this, if I'm not chump blocking something, I'm not going to be using that thing on a servo.
However, you do have that option.
Right, it is an option.
Yeah. So I like that card a lot. I'll play a 3/2 flyer every day. So
All right, 4 mana sorcery, refurbish. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Um, I guess we'll see again. Vacuum.
hmm
Um, it depends on what your deck has got going, but I mean, this could just bring back a Gear Hulk and
right, this feels a lot more like something like not like something you'd be playing in limited.
right.
Like this is something that you build a constructed deck around and like oh yeah, oh no, they killed my Gear Hulk, whoops, it's back, you know, or like if your deck has more targets than that, you know. But it's
It It's a little expensive to bank on unlimited.
Yeah, I was to say in this set, like I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool things to do with this. I don't know how many of those you're going to get to pull off in a draft environment, is I guess what I'm saying. There's
Right.
definitely the cool things to do with it, though.
Revoke privileges. Run out of options. Alright, 3 mana enchantment. And creature, your enchanted creature can't attack, block, or crew vehicles. That last one is very important.
They they revoked this guy's license. What the heck?
I like it.
Like, okay, so one more on your pacifism to make it a little more relevant in the set.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I'm perfectly fine when they do that kind of stuff. Like Kamigawa did that a ton, and I loved that set, so I'm definitely okay with them doing that here.
Like, you either get the 2 mana pacifism or the 3 mana pacifism with some other ability on it, and this other ability is just flat. Look, you can't drive.
No driving.
Yeah, RoboCops won't let it happen.
Servo exhibition. 2 mana sorcery, create 2/1/1 servo artifact creature tokens. At worst, that's a bear.
Yeah, this is again like we were talking about how like going wide might be a thing you could possibly pull off, and yeah, this is more reason to do it. Also, you might care about controlling multiple artifacts.
Right. I know why they did it. I really wish this wasn't uncommon. Like,
This wasn't uncommon.
yeah, but if this was common, there'd just be way too many of them.
Yeah, raise the alarm was an instant, by the way. The one that just makes 1/1 soldiers. So like they're saying here that they think the artifact part of it is a little more powerful than raise the alarm.
Right.
Also, we've got so like what this person has like the arm gauntlet that releases the two circles.
Yeah, like it.
They're and we also have talk of head judge Tezzeret.
Judge Tezzeret.
So as you've seen, this entire set is like a inventors fair, like think the World's Fair, or like if we're talking like maybe more recent movies, think like the beginning of Iron Man 2, or Wayland in one of the more recent Netrunner expansions. Though I don't know how many people are listening actually do play Netrunner, so.
All right, the Sky Swirl Harrier. Now that sheep is screwed. All right, 5 mana, 3/4 flyer.
Okay.
Yep. I,
I
I,
accept this.
it would probably be a mid to late pick, depending on what's in the pack.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm usually willing to pick a 3/3 flyer for 5 if it has some text. And this card's some text is a toughness.
Fair.
So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, flyers usually get a buy.
I like I find this art really does this feel like out of place? It just feels like, oh, whatever. We've got yeah, we were having that chat. Kavanaugh brought that up on Twitter, and I'm always going to side on the 4/3 flyer because that's a 5-turn clock rather than a 7-turn clock.
Hmm.
100, like, especially
Which is probably why that's not a 4/3.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's hard to say outside of context, though.
Right. All right. Sky Whaler's Shot. Also, all right. Dear God,
What
this
the?
hard. This is so
This,
good.
this is some Skies of Arcadia stuff.
Right?
There's the point in that game where you're actually hunting the big old whale with Dharma, I believe. And oh man,
This is so good. All right. So 3 mana instant destroy target creature with 3 power or greater. I did not read that or greater when I first saw this. This makes this thing way better. Also a scry 1.
this card's nuts.
Yeah, this card's kind of ridiculous.
Like, what do you want to like? Everything you want to kill has that much power, right? Like 90% of the time.
Yeah, the other 10% of the time, the only reason you're killing a 2/2 is because you're dead already.
Right. Like so. So usually this is a big like kind of power creep on on this effect in white, because usually white gets this with 4 or greater. That's always been its thing for the past years. It's always been 4 or greater. And this card getting pulled back makes it real good.
Um, as a side note, this right here is a reason I would go servo on that mythic.
To dodge, yeah.
To dodge, because you would you technically get more power going servo anyway.
Yeah.
And this hides it a little better.
Yeah, don't worry. We are definitely going to see the card they are hunting. So we got the Sky Whalers.
Okay.
Whalers on the moon.
I love just how ridiculous this art is.
This one's really. I love the color, the just brightness of this.
Tasseled, I can never pronounce it. Dromedary. Dromedary.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a 1-mana 04.
It's Kraken Hatchling. It's Yoked Ox. It's not great.
There is no dress code for inventors.
It's not great, but it rules. Let's put it like. I like that it's being like we have to tie up the camel at like the with this really nice looking sash thing so that it's not gonna walk away.
I love it. I love it. There's nothing to talk about on it, but I love it. All right, the Thriving Ibex. All right, well it's a Pilfered Ox, 4-mana 2/4. Get 2 energy when it comes into play. That's already 1,000 times better than Pilfered Ox.
Yep.
When it attacks, you pay 2. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. This is a 4-mana 3/5.
That can get better if you do other energy things. Yeah.
Yeah, this card is actually really good, especially at common.
We're gonna see this is actually a full cycle of thriving whatevers that have similar things where they come to play, make 2 energy. They have a 2 energy attack thing that puts a +1/+1 counter on them, and they're usually a good body already.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. All right, we're nearly getting to the end of white here with Toolcraft Exemplar.
1-mana 1/1 with
Okay.
abilities. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control an artifact, Toolcraft or Exemplar gets +2/+1 until end of turn. If you control 3 or more artifacts, it also gains first strike. So does it just take the artifacts and just like turn them into weapons and then uses them?
Yeah. It's this is really cool. This attacks for 3 if you have like you play it on 1 and then
This is literally just Cogmaster.
Yeah, this is Cogmaster. You're right. It's that. It's literally the. It cares about having a mech.
Yep. It just needs a mech.
I'm gonna try not to get into my rant about the whole Metalcraft not being named Metalcraft in this set until we get to exactly 1 card in blue that'll have me going hooting and hollering for like 2 minutes. So.
Okay. All right. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Blue's not that far.
You can use the +2 to pilot it. You want to go back on that one?
Oh, sure. Oops. No, not next. Definitely not what I want.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, it gets +2/+1. That's actually before you declare attacks. So at the beginning of combat, this gets pumped to 3 power. And then if you have a vehicle that says crew 3, which needs 3 power to crew it, you can tap this 1 creature.
Awesome. All right, that's really cool.
Yes.
All right.
So I wanted to clear that up. This card, because I thought that same thing too. Yeah.
I like this guy. It's 2-mana 3/2 with vigilance. So pretty good there. Can't attack alone, but
Yeah, this is pretty dang powerful.
Especially with vigilance on it. Like so you're throwing the other dude in, but it's like you didn't.
Right, and also this is like really dang powerful. It's just a blocker, even if it couldn't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
Yeah.
Funny note: if you have 2 of these, they can attack.
All right, so just draft the shit out of this guy and you win every game.
Right? Because you have a 3 power 2 2-mana creature.
Yeah. All right, deal. We can do that.
Yeah.
All right, a 4-mana 2/1
All right, we got Ripley here.
This is really good. Visionary Augmenter with Fabricate too. Um, this is basically the same as that Mythic, except I mean, worse in every way, but an uncommon, so you might actually get to play it.
Right. Well, okay. So we have a 4 mana 4/3 or a 4 mana 2/1 that comes with 2/1/1s.
Right.
Yeah, you can kill this with a ping, as that's how Fabricate functions. But
Yep.
yeah, I like this card because the art reminds me of Aliens.
Okay. Yeah.
Like right at the end where Ripley gets the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. This is also yeah, absolutely fine creature because either
Absolutely.
either a 4/3 or team sweet.
Teams. All right. The Wisp Weaver Angel, a 6 mana 4/4 flyer.
Uh-huh.
When it enters the battlefield, you may exile another creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. All right, so flicker on a dude.
You remember Restoration Angel?
Yep, I sure do.
Okay, well, this
This is
time
it
it's
without flash.
right. This is it with six. Like you lose flash, you get 1 power, and it costs +2 mana, and you're still completely fine.
Yep. I mean, especially because it's an uncommon.
Yeah. Also, this card is like yeah. Okay, when you compare anything to Resto Angel, it loses. This card's still really damn powerful.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You know, like we've seen things that make flickering work in this color already. Fabricate, the Ninth Street person with the axe.
Energy
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You choose Fabricate on resolution, so if they kill your Fabricator before you choose the counters, you just get the servos.
Which I'm really glad they did it that way.
Yeah. So, all right,
All right, on to blue.
we're into blue.
All right, 2 mana, Aether Meltdown, Flash Enchantment, enchant creature or vehicle. When Aether Meltdown enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Enchant a permanent gets -4/-0. I like this thing in basically every way.
So usually I'm not the biggest fan of this style of removal, but I think this one's really damn powerful. Like 2 mana, instant speed, -4 power, that's permanent. Like, okay. Like that's basically good enough for that effect. And also it makes
Makes
energy, which it's one of the few cards that makes energy and doesn't use it. We're gonna see a couple more of those. Like it's not the only card that does it, but it is like yeah, you get energy.
Yeah, I think this card's sweet. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So I'm liking this.
Also, I think that's the first one we've seen that gives energy at instant speed.
Yes, I don't think we've seen anything in white that did. So
So that's okay. 2 mana 1/3 Aether. When it enters the battlefield, it gets 3 energy. You can pay an energy to scry one while tapping it. Um, I like it. I mean, I probably play it for the energy generation, just because of like how I mean, energy is not a renewable resource.
right, though. So I want to compare this card to an existing one called
Sure.
Omen Speaker.
Okay.
Omen Speaker was a 2 mana 1/3 at common that just said Scry 2 on come into play.
Yep.
This is worse than that, but also better.
Yeah, because it gives you more options at making overall vacuum ability.
Right, like this gets to scry once at a time, so it's like a really good way to kind of like keep early pressure off while trying to improve your draws. Also, maybe it just dies and then you have 3 energy sitting around for I don't know something we might see later.
Right.
I like this card a lot as far as a blocker.
Mhm. Alright, Aether Trade Winds. 3 mana instant. Return target permanent you control and target permanent you don't control to their owner's hands.
So this is a reprint, which is kind of funny because it has the Aether going on, but it's pretty dang good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough things in the set we've seen already where I'd be fine playing my cards again. You just bounce whenever you don't want them. Like, yeah, I think it's fine. Also, anything with like, I love this guy just like hanging off the back.
Got like the hook shot, like hanging off the back.
Um, I basically just love this set because all it is a bunch of like normal people trying to kill each other in spaceships.
It's really fun. I'm liking this a lot. So yeah,
Yeah, lots of neat things you can do there. All right, Aether Squall Ancient. Dear God, that's a lot of energy token things I see on there.
we found the whale.
We found the whale. All right, 7 mana, 6/6 flyer. The beginning of your upkeep, you get 3 energy. Okay, so this is the first renewable energy source we've seen.
Yeah, that keeps going.
Pay, what is that? Eight
That is
energy.
eight. That is 8.
Return all other creatures to their owner's hands. Activate this the only time you can cast a sorcery. This card is sweet, and I love him, and he's the best.
So we got a 7 mana 6/6 flyer that if it sticks around for a couple turns just goes whoop and everything disappears off the board and it gets to attack for 6 unimpeded.
I mean, that's if you didn't already have the energy on your own by the time you had 7 mana.
Yep. So, and say the creature you bounced were, I don't know, making energy.
Right?
Yeah, this is
I mean,
I like this.
also just point out, like I said, this is renewable, so they can try to make a board. You're just gonna bounce it again in 3 turns.
Right, or maybe quicker if you bounce things that make. Yeah, the energy deck wants to cast this with 8 already. Just go wafwa.
Yeah, this card. I feel like if you're playing the energy deck, you play this card and you basically win.
Yeah,
But
this is
they need a kill spell right then to stop you.
also it just works on its own as a 6/6 flyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's
yeah.
that. All right, Ceremonious Rejection. 1 mana instant counter target colorless spell. In this set, this is going to be very good.
This actually also might have a little more reach than just limited because it's not counter target artifact. This is very important distinction. It's counter target colorless spell, which when we're talking in standard, we can talk Eldrazi.
Right. It does Telecar draws it, but it also negates Gear Hulks.
No, they aren't colorless.
Right,
They are
exactly. That's what I'm
Really?
saying.
You can't hit them with this.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you miss out on Gear Hulks, but yeah,
Oh,
you can get Eldrazi.
Yeah. Sorry. I was interpreting that the other way. Yeah. So, yes, this person has 6 fingers. That's a distinction on the Videlkins. Mm-hmm. So this is look when you have a card this cheap with words counter on it, like you can't like overlook it. So
No. Yeah, I mean, this is just like, what were some of those? Weren't there some counters that, that for...
yeah. Anyway,
Okay, Confiscation Coup. Alright, 5 mana sorcery. Choose target artifact or creature, you get 4 energy. Then you may pay an amount of energy equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. If you do, gain control of it. I like this card a lot.
I think this is an immediate like Bombo slam.
Yeah.
This is this is so without any energy, you can steal anything 4 CMC or lower.
Unlike basically every steal spell that has been printed in like the last 10 years at least, you just get it's not an enchantment. You keep it. This is yours.
Yeah. We've seen it very rarely. There was like govern the no there was we see it very rarely, but it does exist. Man. Also of note, this is Story Spotlight 5 of 5. Which is to say, because of the flavor text and the card itself, do not resist. Tezzeret bids you to surrender your inventions, and so it's Tezzeret trying to overthrow and take over the fair and steal everything.
Also, no, did the first flicker say that it went back to owner's control?
It did.
Was that able to be targeting your opponent's stuff, or was that just yours?
That one was just yours.
Okay. All right.
Don't flicker the card you stole with this with the like the
Yeah.
It's yeah. That's also like a weird distinction because like Resto Angel actually puts it back under anyway, whatever.
All right. Curio Vendor. It's a piker.
So there's actually a cycle of just textless creatures. We saw the camel. This is the blue one.
Hi.
Yeah, it's a piker.
I mean, I I mean, I'd probably be a piker too if I had like laser apples or whatever the hell he has there.
like look at that like aim. Like okay, we got the laser beam. Are they like solving is this like a witness puzzle or something? Like
Right?
what's going on here?
Yeah, job was about to get.
Yeah, it's a piker. You might want it.
Maybe. All right, we got Disappearing Act. 3 minute instant. As an additional cost of Disappearing Act, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Counter target spell. All right, if this wasn't in this set, this would be the worst cancel I've ever seen.
Still might be like we've had Familiar's Ruse, which was 2 mana counterspell, bounce a creature you control. We had Deprive, which was 2 mana counterspell, bounce a land you control. And this one is just bounce anything, so creature, land, artifact, whatever, but it costs 3.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't like this at 3. I
Don't
really don't.
don't pick this.
Well, like if you have things that come into play and do I won't you probably won't catch me doing the Disappearing Act very much.
Probably not. All right, Dramatic Reversal. 2 mana instant, untap all non-land permanents you control. That's all right. Blue doesn't normally have combat tricks.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a combat trick.
I also enjoy the flavor text of what are you doing here, Jace? Get out of here. What? Like come on. Come on, Jace. What the hell? Like
You
this
get
is like
everything.
this is like I think this is the only card Jace appears on in the set. And it's just like it's Jace showing up and being like, "Hey, I'm here too. I can help." This card actually has some interesting implications with vehicles.
Oh yeah.
Because you have to tap your creatures to crew the vehicle. Again, it's going to be a while till we see that, but trust me on that. You tap your creatures to crew the vehicle, and then you dramatic reversal to untap the creatures that are that were crewing, and then you can attack with both.
So since there's not really a big like 2 steps to beginning of your combat. Can you untap creatures you tap to crew a vehicle to crew another vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, well that makes no sense, but I'm glad it works.
We were really hoping that Horseshoe Crab was going to be printed in this set, because Horseshoe Crab just has blue untap Horseshoe Crab.
He's getting all right, Horseshoe Crab. Get in that other car too. Drive them both.
Like the crab just know the world I want to live in is the one where you crew your like you have one creature, you tap it to crew a vehicle, then tap that vehicle to crew the Doom Train or something. And it's like, all right, I'm driving this with my like.
It's like the Megazord getting inside of Voltron.
Yeah, basically.
Some era of innovation. 2 mana enchantment. Whenever an artifact or artificer enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. You get 2 energy. Pay 6 energy. Sacrifice it. Draw 3 cards.
I kind of like this.
I do too. Like, I mean, that last part seems really expensive, but this is yet another like renewable energy resource.
Right, because you don't actually have to spend, like, you don't have to break this the moment you get to 6 energy. If you just want to keep building energy, keep doing it.
Right, just do it.
Yeah, I've gone through the set the first before. I actually didn't notice the artificer on this. That makes it a little better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like most fabricate cards are artificers, like that sort of thing.
Right.
If it has something to do with an artifact, it usually has artificer as a type. So,
which is really funny because then usually you're getting like 3 coming into play. Can you do it for each one? Like if you picked the fabricate?
yes, you could.
Okay.
So,
so just pick like 3 things, get 6 energy, pop it, and
yeah, this is like it's like 5 total mana on its own to draw 3 cards, but it's split up, which is nice.
right.
Or say you have an artificer like this one, which is a artificer that comes with 2 1/1 flying Thopters.
Ooh. Okay, so 5 mana 0/3 flying. When it enters the battlefield, create 2. All right, so this makes the 2 Thopters. This card seems really expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the O3 flyer and like 2/1/1. So this is just like make a board, but your board isn't very good. It's just like this O3 and 2/1/1s.
Like, this should honestly have one power, maybe two.
Yeah, I feel like it's missing. Like it might be a little pull. So there was a card in Magic Origins called Whirler Rogue at Uncommon that puts this card to shame. It was a 2/2 for 4 that made 2 Thopters and also could tap 2 artifacts to make something on. Yes, Whirler Rogue was too good. All right, it was like the most auto first pick card I've ever seen in my life. This card ain't Whirler Rogue. I'm still probably going to play it because it says flying on every single card.
I guess. I don't. I mean, we already saw like a 5 mana 3/4, which is just better, just in my
Oh,
opinion. I mean, I know we've seen a lot of bounce and like pumping for mass attacks and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think I would rather just have the 4 mana 3/4 or 5 mana
yeah.
3. Sorry.
So yeah, they're different cards. So
Well, we'll see. Failed inspection. 4 mana instant counter target spell. Draw a card, then discard a card. I feel like this should just say draw a card.
we would call that dismiss if it just said draw a card, and that would be a card that was uh, printed in Conspiracy 2 not a month ago, though that isn't a standard legal yeah card. This is I think it's overcosted.
Yeah, I do too.
Honestly, I think this would be just fine as cancel with the loot, but maybe that like
I I really don't understand why they think cancel is just fine. They're just trying to force cancel on people, and when they should really be doing it the other way, where it should just be cancels with additional effects. That's the way you get away from counter spells or from a
yeah.
2 mana counter spell.
Right, like there have been that we've had cancel that removes from play. We have cancel with Scry 1, and those are played. Yes, this was just a card that had draw a card on it.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, I think this card's still expensive for what it does. I don't want to be playing a 4 mana counter spell.
No.
Yeah, so. Or if I do, I want it to be doing a lot more than this.
Yeah. All right. Gear Seeker Serpent.
It's here.
5 mana, or sorry, 5 mana. 7 mana, 5/6. Costs one less artifact you control. Good. Pay 6. Can't be blocked. What the hell?
Now, only if there was some word in Magic that would describe making a card cost less for the number of artifacts you control. We might even call it some sort of, I don't know, resonance or affinity, maybe,
Maybe
for
affinity.
artifacts. Maybe I'm angry about that. I don't. Like why this is affinity, but it's not the word affinity. That bothers me a lot.
Also,
Anyway,
this seems unreasonable as a common.
oh God, yeah. This is like
What the
say
hell?
this is a reason to make some servos and then cast this for 4. I don't know.
I, I would play this card without the affinity.
I think it'd be a little expensive without the affinity, but
As a common, no.
fair. But I mean, even like,
7 mana, 5/6 unblockable. Like,
eh. Yeah, this card's a blowout as hell. You're not wrong. Like with the like, especially with the affinity on it, like it's if you can cast this for 5.
right. I mean, without the affinity, it's definitely not a first pick by any means. But
Right.
I'm just saying, like, I would play this. Like, I would like fifth pick this and play it and probably win.
Yeah, I'd probably want to have you know, have one of these in my blue deck just because as a breaker, this is an immediate breaker. It wins the game in 4 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. It bugs me to no end that this card does not use the word affinity on it, because one of the things that had been, so this has been happening in a lot of sets recently where they'll reuse an ability word but won't use the word. Like there's a card in the last set that had Hellbent, but it didn't say the word Hellbent.
Right.
And the response I always got from people, the only defense anyone could ever give me is, well, that's not a real keyword. That's an ability word, which is different than a keyword. Affinity is a keyword. Sorry, your
Yeah.
that defense is now shattered. The only one that's left is that confuses new players and whatever. I
Yeah,
think
yeah. I guess I can at least see that it confuses new players. Like, why add a keyword for one card in a set?
right.
I can
I
see
don't
that more than
right, and I can't disagree on that point, but also I think I trust new players a little more than that in the sense that I think it would actually be like, whoa, what is that, and they would look back to older cards and maybe become interested. I don't,
sure.
but clearly they have more data than I do. So
It doesn't add anything. It's just I don't know. It's a callback that older players would appreciate.
shrug. I don't know. Like, look, I have my thoughts on it, and those are my thoughts on it. So
All right, 4 mana instant, scry 2, then draw 2. You get 2 energy. I like everything about this card. Like it's ponder that's fair that gives you energy.
this is ponder. This is not the card I would compare ponder
Or
to.
well, okay, all right, you know what I mean though. Like
Yeah,
I mean, ponder was like completely unfair. This like it tries to be fair.
this is well, so we actually get like inspiration, which is a 4 mana instant that just says draw 2 cards. And that's a card that's seen play. This is like 6 times better than inspiration.
Yeah,
Instant speed, scry 2, draw 2, and the 2 energy. Maybe you use that. Maybe you don't. Honestly, I'm probably fine playing this card literally if I have no energy
yeah,
usage.
yep.
So
I like it.
I'm a big fan of this one.
All right, Flint Nest Crane, 2 mana 1/3 flyer. I can stop there and I'd be fine with this thing.
Oh, keep moving. You might be even better with it.
I like his little tone. Alright, when Gluttonous Crane enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal an artifact card from among them, put it into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom. Okay, so it got better. You get to draw a card.
Yeah, basically. So we have a flyer that can replace itself, dig for artifacts. I like its nest that's just made of like artifacts there. That's
Uh,
really cool.
I mean, I would probably play this if it didn't say flying on it,
Mm,
but it says flying, so I'm going to play it twice as hard.
nice.
Alright, High Tide Hermit. Oh man, this is a crab with power.
Hmm.
All right, it's 5 mana 4/4. No, it's a defender. That's why it's good. When it enters the battlefield, get 4 energy. All right, sweet. Pay 2. Can attack as though it didn't have defender. I like it. I actually really like that.
Yeah. That's a lot of energy, and you don't have to use it on this if you have some other way of using it. That's great. If you just have this card, it's still like Dirkwood Boars, basically.
Right.
Um, I like the art. There's a scale bird so that you know how big this crab is.
Oh, the big crab.
Yeah, it's a pretty big crab.
I like it. Insidious Will. 4 mana instant. Choose one. Counter a spell. Well, that's way more than cancel. You may choose new targets for target spell. Okay. I feel like that's basically the first one. Well, all right, I take that back. You can get rid of dudes with that. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy.
Yes.
Okay, so you can let the first one through, but you get to change the target.
So yeah, this is now when I talk about 4 mana counters, I'd be completely like I want this is the options you want to see. Like this can counter, this can redirect a removal spell, this can copy some sort of like ability like um say your opponent has some sort of like collected company style thing or even a card draw spell, like you can ride on with it. The honestly, you're probably going to be choosing like mode 2 on instants and sorceries most of the time because you want to, like redirect your kill spell, that sort of thing.
Right.
But this has a lot of options.
Sure. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I forgot about like things that don't I said target in the second part, and that kind of confused me.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, why wouldn't I just pick the first one? Or the first redirect instead of the copy one?
Yeah, it might not be able to.
Right, I didn't realize that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. That's the, yeah, like you said, that's the type of 4 mana one we could actually start playing. All right, Janjit Sentry, 3 mana 2. When Janjit Sentry enters the battlefield, get 2 energy. Tap and pay 2 energy. You may tap or untap target artifact or creature. This is like probably the first like real dump we've seen.
This is a so. Not only do we have we have a 3 mana 2/3, so good body. Like this is kind of turn your energy into a tumble magnet sort of thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like this is definitely like one of the first cards we've seen that you kind of would want to spend your energy from other cards, being like, "Yo, I'm gonna tap that blocker, gonna untap gonna untap this creature here, untap this artifact, tap that, like that's a lot."
Mhm.
And even on its own, it's still like, okay, you get a 3/2 body with a single tap added in.
Right.
So,
Deal.
hmm what happens when you copy a time walk? You usually take 2 extra turns. That's generally how it happens.
Yep. Here's the Sky Whale. Here's another Sky Whale.
Yep.
Hey, here's the 4 mana 4/3 we were talking about you earlier.
Yeah.
It can only block creatures with flying, but that's understandable. It's a fucking Sky Whale.
Right. So this is the whale they're hunting. This is pretty dang cool. 4 power, 4 mana, flying. A plus would play every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Malfunction! 4 mana enchantment. And artifact or creature. When malfunction enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent. Doesn't untap. Okay, so it's Narcolepsy.
Yeah, this is your basic blue removal.
But because it's this that like, yeah, I know it costs 1 more than Narcolepsy, but it gets artifacts that aren't creatures,
Well,
which is actually going to mean something.
Narcolepsy was 2.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, I didn't. Let me see.
Yeah.
I'm still willing to pay it.
Yeah, I mean, especially because blue removal.
Right.
Of note, we've seen cards in blue already that don't that like that can negate this sort of thing. We've seen a couple untapped things, so
Right.
we might see more.
All right. Metallurgic Summoning. Oh, it's a mythic. All right. 5 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, spell, create an XX colorless construct artifact creature token, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. 5 exile metallurgic summonings. Return all instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you control 6 or more artifacts. This card's ridiculous.
So we have our 5 mana blue do nothing enchantment. This is. I don't think you're playing this in limited.
Most likely not.
However, I think you can definitely build some sort of ridiculous deck where you just start going off with like, I don't know. I saw this card and thought like weird storm sort of thing where you're just like, I'm gonna cast a bunch of mana writs and things, and then get them all back for free, and like, I don't know. I'm intrigued by this. Also, like just the fact of like, I don't know. I cast my blue draw spell and it makes a 4/4.
Right.
So
Metal craft.
I think
Six or more of it.
this is definitely a constructed card, though.
It would have to be.
Yeah.
All right, Minister of Inquiries. That's a 1 mana 1/2. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, when it enters battlefield, it get 2 energy. What the heck? Why is this thing like so much value? Why is he ripping up a book? Okay. Well, pay an energy. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. I honestly could care less about that.
it's there. It like so I think Wizards is required by law to put one like mill card in their set so that they can be like, oh, I got the mill deck in draft. Um,
I would still rather have Hedron Crab, but
right, that's the one that beats every other one like this, where it's like, oh, um, yeah, and the flavor text is the why this person is ripping up the book. There, so,
this research violates consulate law. Yeah,
all right.
right.
All right, but yeah, I mean, you could draft like 1,000 of these and be like, "Ah, I'm gonna mill you," but then you could also just get run over.
But right. All right, Nimble Innovator. 4 mana 2/2. When Nimble Innovator enters the battlefield, draw a card.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty meh.
I'm in.
I'm probably not.
I'm always in. This card, it's a bit of a stretch for me to say this card could have some like constructed capabilities, but it works well with a merge. That's all I can say there. Look, I like drawing cards, I suppose.
I understand wanting to draw cards. This is a 4 mana bear that after you've drawn your card does nothing but be a bear. I mean, I guess there's some bounce stuff, but
I'm gonna draw my card. I guess it's an artificer. Is that
Artificer. It might be okay. I'll give you that.
all right? Next up,
Hadim, Consul of Innovation. 4 mana 1/4, legendary. An artificer. Artifacts you control have hexproof. God damn. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost or tied for the highest converted mana cost, draw a card. This case kind of ridiculous.
that's some pretty good card advantage, especially because your artifacts are unkillable while this is in play.
Right?
Like again, this card kind of shouts to me like a bit more of a constructed card, but definitely like would be playable if you have some, you play a 3 mana artifact and then this on 4, and then it's just I draw 2 cards every turn.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
Impress me with your expensive artifact, I'll give you a card.
Paradoxical outcome. From an instant, return any number of target non-land token permanents to their owner's hand. Draw a card for each way that was returned. This card is ridiculous.
I again don't feel like you're going to be casting this in draft too much because like removing everything from your board is a good way to get run down a lot of the times. But you're right, this is some sort of ridiculous thing going on here.
With how much fabricate and other
Well, you can't pick up tokens.
I don't want to pick up the token. I want to pick up the thing that
Yeah, I know.
makes tokens.
I know. I know.
Okay. And then you draw a card for each thing you brought back that gives you more card advantage. Like this just it has so much card advantage.
It does. I'm actually really interested to play this with another card we'll see much later in like a dumb combo deck.
Okay.
And I'll point that out when it comes up, but I like this card a lot. I just don't think it's a limited card.
Sure. All right. Revolutionary Rebuff is probably the best 2 mana counterspell in the format.
Yeah.
I mean it's yeah. All right. It's 2 mana instant. Counter target non-artifact spell unless its controller pays 2. It's a bad mana leak, but any mana leak is a good mana leak.
I was gonna say any port in a storm. You take what you got, and this is what we got, and this I think this is just fine.
Yeah.
We take bad mana leak and we accept it because there. Yeah, is there any 2 mana counterspell in the format? Good question. This is it. Like this is better than Clash of Wills. Clash of Wills is rotating, right? Wills is Clash. I'm pretty sure Clash of Wills is rotating because it's Origins. Yeah, so this will definitely be better than Clash of Wills in Standard because it will be legal.
All right, I'll give it that.
So, yeah.
All right, Shali
Sahili.
Sahili's Artistry, 6 mana sorcery. That's a lot. All right, choose one or both. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, except if it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Alright, so just make two dudes.
Yeah.
make,
Make
make, make the two best dudes.
Yeah, so you get a copy of the best artifact in play, and you get a copy of the best creature in play, and you get both of them, and it's in one card. I'm
I'm okay
I
with
like
this.
this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like this card.
6 mana to make 2 copies of target Gear Hulk or something like that, right? That's
I mean, at worst, you copy 2/3 drops and you come out even. Except you came out a card ahead because you only played one.
yeah. So I like it.
Yeah. You can't create two Gear Hulks because the Gear Hulk is an artifact in
Well,
addition to.
you can.
Can you?
Yeah, go back on that. I think you read it slightly off. It's not. It's copy target artifact and then copy target creature, except that the creature is also an artifact.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you make a copy of a creature, it becomes an artifact creature.
I see what you're saying. Okay, actually, I read that. Yeah, I read that completely wrong. Okay, yeah. So you can make any additional artifact, not even just the creature ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good thing that it went back on me.
So, all right. Next in line, we have select for inspection.
All right. 1 mana instant. Return target tapped creature to its owner's hand. Scry 1. This card is ridiculously good, and I love it.
That's some heavy, like. So, okay. This is an unsummon you can't use to, like, go for lethal, you know? Like, you can't, like, bounce their blocker. But damn, that's gotta suck when they, like, attack in with their 5-drop and you just go, whoops. Like.
Yeah, and then oh well, let's just get those bad cards out the deck.
Yeah, this is cheap.
Yeah.
I like this is a 1 mana trick, and I like it. So give me 1 mana cards. I'll play them.
All right, Shrewd Negotiation. 5 mana sorcery. Exchange control of target artifact you control and target artifact or creature you don't control. This is yet another one that you can get control of somebody else's dude that doesn't fall off.
Yeah. So the cool thing here is that you give off your artifact for an artifact or creature.
Yeah.
Literally, like.
You give them a servo, and then you just get a Gear Hulk in return.
Yeah, you take their big old buster. You give them. We'll see these like puzzle knots in the artifacts later that are also really good. We'll see some artifacts that are really good targets for the good old swap. Yeah, I think that's a pretty high pick. Splashable too.
Yeah. Azarat's Ambition. 5 mana sorcery, draw 3 cards. If you control no artifacts, discard a card.
I'm convinced this might be the worst draw spell we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm aware that Brilliant Radiance exists. I'm still willing to say this is one of the worst draw spells we've seen in a while.
You could literally just have not that discard thing for 1 less mana.
Yeah, so this card used to be called Concentrate, which was draw 3 cards at sorcery speed with no other text. We also had Jace's Ingenuity, which was draw 3 cards at instant speed at this mana cost. What other
discard effect?
We even saw like 12 cards back an instant speed draw 2 for
Yeah, draw 2, scry 2, get 2 energy.
Yeah, this is dreadful.
Yeah. We're done talking. Alright, the Thriving Turtle. 1 mana 0/3. When turtle enters the battlefield, get 2 energy. While whenever Thriving Turtle attacks, you may pay 2 and put a 1/1 counter on it. That's a 1 mana 1/4.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Also, like, if you don't actually want to, like, use the energy on the turtle and you just really wanted, like, some sort of junk blocker or whatever, like, you can do that. Or you can power this up to be more than a 1/4 with your other energy. Like, you can...
Yeah.
2/5, 3/6. I like all the thriving things, and also
this card's really.
I like the art on the turtle too.
I'm a turtle. Oh, we got our Gear Hulk. All right, Torrential Gear Hulk, 6 mana, 5/6 with Flash. When Torrential Gear Hulk enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Damn.
So this is like you're paying for a huge body and you don't have to pay for the instant. Like it's free. This isn't like a Snapcaster where you have to pay the mana cost of the card you target. Uh Damn.
Yeah, remember when I was saying that blue didn't have combat tricks? I forgot to say that they usually have big ass flash dudes that just wreck your combat forever. This is that guy.
I I don't think the fact that this is only instant makes it kind of bad. That's I think that's untrue pretty heavily because a lot of the time you're going to be getting either like some sort of instant speed card draw or instant speed removal. Like I don't
Right. I
like
mean, this is just a big Snapcaster Mage. Like, because most of the time people, when they use Snapcaster, and Snapcaster Mage gets sorcery too.
well, Snapcaster Mage is a lot more versatile.
Right.
Like it can because say you if you get a 1 mana sorcery like a Ponder or something, it's much cheaper.
Right. But, I mean, I felt like a lot of the time they use it to go grab a counter, which this can do in spades.
Right, it can, but Snapcaster's a little more versatile in that it can also do other things. However, this can just be like, oh, by the way, I grab a counter spell. I yeah, like I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I understand. Like, yeah, a lot of the better ones we've seen so far in this set have been sorcery. But, I mean, I'm still okay with it. We've only seen two gear. Um, hey, this is a fine card. 3 mana, 2/3 with prowess.
Yep. We had in the previous set, literally the last set, Eldritch Moon, we had exactly this card with blue +1/-1 on it,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is 100% better than this card. This card's still really good, so
Yep.
like I'm fine with it.
Uh, Weldfast Wingsmith. All right, this guy makes wings out of metal. It's pretty
Hmm.
good. All right, he's 4 mana, 3/3. Hey, there's your Hill Giant.
Yep. But
Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gains flying.
yeah,
So now your Hill Giant flies.
yeah. I'm A+ on that sort of thing because flying is going to be pretty cool, especially if like there's uh especially if there's a bunch of servos or some junk and it's like I just need to get through.
Right.
So
Deal. Hey, it's a Windrake. Straight up Windrake.
yeah, so a literal wind drake. Yeah,
All right, we know Windrake.
great. Let's move along. Wind drake. Thank you.
All right, we're on to black.
All right,
We're almost to my favorite card in the set.
getting there.
Yeah. All right. This is Aetherborn Marauder. It's 4 mana, 2/2, flying lifelink. When Aetherborn Marauder enters the battlefield, move any number of +1/+1 counters from other permanents you control to Aetherborn Marauder. This guy, I think, could be really neat.
Yeah, if you have a number of like fabricate things, then it's like, you know what? Let's go. It's time to go all in on the 6/6 flying lifelinker.
Or if you have the turtle.
If you have the turtle, or there's a lot of ways to make 1/1 counters. And if this gets one, you're gonna if this gets literally one counter, you're on a 3/3 flying lifelinker, which
Yeah.
nice. I guess I'll give the little bit of flavor about the Aetherborn in this set. They are like these. So the Aether is the energy they use. That's like this energy from the sky that they use to power all their cool inventions.
Hmm.
The Aetherborn are made of as like a byproduct of it.
Okay.
They don't need to eat or sleep. They're not like they don't have gender. They're just these things that live for like 3 or 4 years and never need to rest. So they really love living life to its fullest, and
Okay.
they're neat. I like them a lot.
Yeah. That's
We're gonna,
sweet. Also, it was really good art.
yeah. Yeah, Protoss, another tribe says. You're not even. Don't worry, we'll get to the Protoss.
All right, ambitious Aetherborn, 5 mana 4/3 with Fabricate 1. I mean it's pretty solid common.
Yeah, it's a 5. It'll be a 5/4 if you just want a generic 5/4. It'll be it can come with a trump blocker if you need to double block or something like that, or need it's this is acceptable and just fine.
I think, yeah.
You mean live fast, die young? Not yet. We're not to those cards.
All right, literally my favorite card in the whole set, Demon of Dark Schemes. All right, 3 black, black, black. A flying 5/5 when the demon of dark schemes enters the battlefield. All other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. When another creature dies, you get an energy. A 3, a 4 energy. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped.
Yeah, so this is super damn cool. Like we have a flying sort of like massacre worm like creature in that we have a 6 mana 5/5, awesome. Like infest the board when it comes in, also awesome. Oh,
Yeah,
by the way, generate energy, and also I can steal creatures from any graveyard.
yeah. The
I'm
scheming.
the one thing I can say about this card, like this is like an auto A+, like I'm all over this in limited. The one thing I can say about this in constructed is that it's actually going to have a bit of a hard time there because 3 toughness is the world we live in constructed, because we have like Sylvan Advocate and Reflector Mage are 2/3s. So I can't speak for this card in a constructed format, but I can
Well,
say this card is super great.
we'll see how big servos get.
If they're if
Because yeah, because if servos become like a decent thing, like this just wipes all servos.
Oh, by the way, I'll just your board.
Also because all you had was servos and it's got like 16 energy in.
Yeah.
All right, Doomed Operative. 2 man. Hey, it's a bear. Hey, it's our first bear. Oh, we've gone through 2 colors. This is our first bear.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, actually.
Didn't we have a white bear?
Maybe we did.
I think you missed a single white card because I remember a white bear.
Okay.
Anyway, to quick touch that one, there's a white bear that says when this card comes into play, you can return another permanent you control to your hand. Something like that. Anyway.
Okay. As long as you control an artifact, it gets +1/+0. That's the hell of a bear.
And Death Touch.
Oh, and Death Touch. Damn.
So, this is a little better than a bear.
It's a common. You don't get to be better than a bear.
No, you get to be incredibly better than a bear at common, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah. Good stuff. Play that sort of stuff.
Hey, it's D-Tutor.
Mm-hmm.
Get your search on.
Yep.
Alright, Die Young. 2 mana sorcery, choose target creature. You get 2 energy, then you may pay any amount of energy. This creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each energy that was paid this way. I mean, it's a solid kill spell.
Yeah, so the cool thing I like with this card um is how it interacts with, say, you go for the kill on your opponent, and you go for the kill on like a 2/2. Your opponent goes for a pump spell. You just say, I'll pay 0 energy. Screw it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Young sucks? Hell no. This card's great. Like,
Um,
yeah, the red one's better, but this card is absolutely fine.
I mean, yeah, I wish it was instant, but I wish a lot of things were instant. I mean, 2 mana for -2/-2. We've seen worse.
Yeah. I especially if we've seen so many energy ways to make in this set, like, but my favorite trick with it is, again, if your opponent pumps it out of range, you just say, you know what, I choose 0. You don't get the card, you don't get the energy from it, or you don't get the kill from it, but you still get the energy. So
All right. A Ura Scavenger. 6 mana 4/6. When it enters the battlefield, you may put target artifact or creature from your graveyard on top of your library. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
kind of a standard common.
this is pretty good. Um, like just in the sense that it's like, okay, you don't. It's not like a gravedigger to your hand.
Right.
It's a gravedigger to the top of your deck, so you're not actually getting card advantage. But if it's this late in the game, you go, I play a 4/6. Also, I get back my best card,
Right.
and that's really good. Also, check out this art because this is a giant crocodile.
It is a giant crocodile. Is it like does that have a saddle? Is that what that is?
It might be slightly armored.
Armored crocodile? I'm cool with either of those options.
Yeah.
All right, eliminate the comp. Damn, damn. Wait, why was he already holding his wrist? Oh wait, is that somebody else?
No. That's this person. So the right arm is the person that's doing the stabbing. They are holding that wrist in place and spiting themselves by stabbing both themselves at the wrist.
Damn. All right, 5 mana as an additional cost to eliminate the competition. Sacrifice X creatures. Destroy X target creatures.
Yeah. This card is the card you want with all those servos around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this card is A plus material in limited because of how, like, basically as long as you're in any situation other than I literally am dead, this card is going to be I sack my worst creature to kill your best creature. And I do that 3 times.
Yeah.
Would it be easier to stab that guy instead of stabbing your wrist and yourself? Look, we got to make it real because on the flavor text, hostilities are strictly forbidden, but accidents still happen, and it's a lot better, easier to claim an accident if I stabbed myself and this jerk.
And this other guy.
It was totally an accident. I totally didn't mean to stab myself.
Embrawl Bruiser. 2 mana 3/1. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Enters the battlefield tap. Don't like it. Next line makes me like it a whole lot more. It's got menace. It has menace.
Yeah.
As long as you have an artifact, but that's.
Yeah, I if you have an artifact.
2 mana 3/1 menace.
Because the 3/1 on its own is actually not the best here because of all the servo tokens and junk like that around. It's like, I don't know, I don't really want to. But no, if it's like, okay, now I have to be double blocked.
Right. I like it.
Yeah.
Essence Extraction. 3 mana instant. Essence Extraction deals 3 damage to target creature and you gain 3 life.
Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. That's a kill spell.
Yeah, you of note, can't go to the dome. Also of note, instant.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% behind playing this thing. It's cool.
Fortuitous Find. 3 mana sorcery. Choose one or both. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. You can grab some stuff, put it in your hand.
Yeah, this is like the Raise Dead sort of thing we always get in a set, and this is like we always get Raise Dead that has something to do with the set, and this is the Raise Dead that's like, oh, okay, I pick up artifacts.
I've never really liked Raised Dead kind of effects.
Right. Yeah, it is what it is. I'd rather play the Crocodile if I want to recur something, to be honest.
Right. Boundary. 3 mana 2/1 flyer. Boundary's creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control an artifact. This is a 3 mana flyer that might actually have more power than a Windrake.
Yeah, this might just be a 3/1 for 3, like pretty easily when it attacks on turn 4.
Deal.
So
I'm probably not blocking with this guy anyway. So
right, this is really aggressive.
Yeah. Fretwork Colony. 2 mana 1/1. Can't block. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on it and lose 1 life. Oh, that can get out of hand.
This card's really interesting because again, it's uncontrollable. Like you it could just kill you.
Yeah, he could just be dead, but so was Bob, and that was a good card.
Well, yeah, different things. Can't block means you can't just like chump it off. But this, even if this is a 2 mana 3/3, it's out like after you play this on turn two, and then like you attack with your grizzly bear, and then from every point on, this is like that one shade in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get pacified on this. Don't let that happen.
Oh, oh, that'd be bad.
So I think this is a high risk, high reward sort of
I
thing.
mean, I'm gonna be playing in limited,
Yeah.
like 100% of the time.
If my opponent's white, I'll board it out. I'm not gonna get owned by passive. All right.
All right, Gaunty, Lord of Luxury. I'd like to also point out that it's luxury, not luxury. Right? Huh?
Huh?
I don't know. All right. 4 mana, 2/3 Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. Exile one of them down, put the rest of them on the bottom of in a random order. For as long as this card remains exiled, you may look at it and you may spend mana, spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast it. Okay, that last line makes this card actually good.
Right. So we got a 4 mana 2/3 Death Toucher. Where's my cut? That steals one of the top 4 cards off your opponent's library. Important to note that entire text is one trigger. So if like you can cast it, I would say pumpkin. I've been beat to the fact it's attached to that trigger. So like if Gonti's not around, it's not like Gonti needs to be around to be able to cast it.
Oh, okay, that's
So
actually really good to know.
yes, so that means you just have this secret card, and really good thing to note, like just you have this card sitting there, and honestly, you don't play bad cards, right? like like I think worst case is like you hit 4 lands and you're like, all right, whatever. But I love this card.
That's why I always put 4 bad cards in my deck every time.
Oh yeah, so you just see them and it's like, oh, bad cards.
Oh no! Harsh Scrutiny. 1 mana sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may choose a creature card from it, and that player discards that card. Scry 1. I like this card. I like it a
Yeah,
lot.
I'm pretty happy with this. So this used to be called Ostracize in Urza's Saga. I'm gonna say Saga. It was in Urza's block. It might have been Legacy or Destiny, but and Ostracize is the less remembered brother of Duress. Duress being non-creature, non-land. Uh, it's I don't know. I like a lot of the times the cards you want to get rid of are instants and sorceries and such in black, because black, if it's a creature, you can just goddamn kill it a lot.
That's very true. But this does have the scry on it, so I don't feel that as bad. And I mean, it's a 1 mana discard. You can't expect the world.
Right. I'm still fine with it.
Again, they're probably not limited. It'll probably be more of a constructed card if it gets played at all.
Limited, it'd be all right. I mean, if you play it, it gives you something to do on turn one, and you rip your opponent's best creature. That's not
That's right. And I suppose you're like in limited, most of what they have is dudes.
right. That more is the point. It's a lot more likely to hit there.
Okay, Lawless Broker. 3 mana, 3/2. When it dies, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Like, that's about all you could ever ask for out of comment. This is way better than the white one that just put it on to a dude for 1 turn.
This is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is pretty dang good. Like, okay, I trade. Also, this creature in the back gets a +1/+1 counter. Now it's attacking for 4 flying.
Deal.
Yeah. So, yeah, Get Probe drew a card, not Scry 1. There's a Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. 3 mana sorcery. Name a non-artifact, non-land card. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. The player shuffles his or her library, then draws a card for each way, or for each card exiled from hand this way.
So this is a cranial extraction type
Yes.
where it costs less than cranial extraction, but if you hit, like if you hit them in the hand, you don't get to demol. Like there are times
You
you
don't
get to
wreck them.
right. There are times you play cranial extraction and it's like, oh wait, your hand had two copies of that, and your opponent just like loses on the spot. In this sense, they get to replace the card, so it's a little more. It's a little less good in that sense.
Right. I mean,
Uh,
it's still a perfectly fine sideboard card.
right. Also, yeah, you can't name Gear Hulks. Gear Hulks are too powerful to be forgotten.
Can't forget.
Yeah.
Live fast. 3 mana sorcery, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and get 2 energy. I'll play it.
Yeah, this is much like the we saw that blue energy gaining card earlier that was like scry 2, draw 2, and get 2 energy. This is much like that.
I mean, it's what is that? The double black draw two
Sign in.
card. Yeah, Sign in Blood.
Yeah.
It's that, but without having to be double black, and you get energy, which is actually necessary in this set. So
Yeah. Yeah. Of note, the black kill spell we saw earlier is called Die Young. That's the live fast, die young.
should have made a double sided card.
They show them off both at the same time, and it kind of looked like it was that way.
Make obsolete. 3 mana creatures your opponent controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. So you're making all their servos obsolete.
Yeah, you're killing all this. This instant speed, cheap, one sided. I don't think that, again, like I don't think this is enough for like constructed sort of thing, but I think this is like this has some good potential.
I would definitely probably play 1x in my main in limited.
I could be bothered to include this. I don't know if I'd main it. It might be one of the, but even if it's not killing servos, it might just act as like the like, oh, by the way, -1/-1 your team. It's expensive for that much, but
Right. Marionette Master. 6 mana 1/3.
uh-huh.
Fabricate 3.
All
Makes
right.
up 4, so it could be a 4/6.
4/6.
Whenever an artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. Damn.
Yeah, so you have two choices of modes. You either get a team of artifacts to like trigger. You get your 3 head crabs there. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
your 3 robot head crabs, and then your opponent loses 1 life on artifact death, or you get this big creature that just says whenever an artifact dies, lose 4 life, which is yikes.
Yeah, then you just
Um,
start throwing in all of your servos that you've had for the first few turns of the game.
or they just can't attack because of chump blocking. Also,
Right.
if this gets more powerful, the drain life gets bigger. It's it's definitely a card you can't just play
Yeah.
because you have to actually have artifacts in your deck for this to care about. Otherwise, it's just like a kind of underpowered body. Like you'd rather play like the crocodile. But if you do have artifacts, this is fine.
I like it.
I guess
Oops.
it's
Don't.
too quick.
Alright. Malfist Squad. 4 mana 3/1 with Menace and Fabricate 1. I mean, I like it because it says Menace on the card. I will admit that it might be a little expensive.
It's probably it's 4 power minutes. Like
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Sorry, I'm chuckling because I'm picturing the flavor text in like a in an accent. It's like nice invention you got there. It'd be a tragedy if something were to happen.
Oh, I was gonna say, oh, dwarves, but these are humans.
Yeah,
These humans actually have jobs.
yeah. This is the mob.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like it. It says Menace.
Yep.
Midnight Oil. 4 mana enchantment. Midnight Oil enters the battlefield with 7-hour counters on it. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card and remove 2-hour counters from Midnight Oil. Maximum hand size is equal to the number of hour counters on Midnight Oil. Discard a card, you lose 1 life. I What?
Okay, so the idea of the card is literally in the name. It's supposed to be the burning the midnight oil, you know.
Right.
And the idea is you work into the late of the night, which is your hand size slowly getting worse and worse and worse because it's 5 a.m. and you're still tinkering with this damn thing. But you're getting 2 card draws every turn. So your hand size gets worse. You get 2 card draws a turn, and your hand size goes basically to 0. And if you can't just spend all those cards, you just lose a bunch of life.
Okay. Okay. All right. I see what I was very confused because I thought this card was just god awful until I realized you drew even if you ran out of counters.
Yes.
I was like, so after like 3 turns, you don't draw any extra cards, but just don't have a hand size anymore. That seems bad.
Right, it's not conditional on that. You'll go down to no hand size, but you will continue to draw 2 cards a turn. Which, if you have no hand size, I kind of want to draw 2 cards
Yeah.
because yeah, that's the big point here. Is it will continue? It doesn't just draw 3 cards. Otherwise, this card would be like really bad.
Yeah.
If it was just like, oh, 4 mana to draw 3 cards slowly, like no, this is supposed to be like a Phyrexian arena style.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'd be willing to try it out.
Also, if you have some way of making your hand size like not real,
Right.
you'll go down to 0 hand size. You'll go from 7, 5, 3, 1, 0. Like this isn't Netrunner. In Netrunner, you would actually fail to remove the 2-hour counters because that's weird. But you do as much as the card asks. So.
All right. Mind Rot. It's a reprint. Discard your 2 cards.
It's my rod.
All right. Morbid Curiosity. 3 mana sorcery is an additional custom Morbid Curiosity. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw cards equal to the converted mana cost of the sacrificed permanent. This needs to be an instant, and then I would play it.
You can get a lot of cards off this, though.
Yeah.
That's like you can't, especially say it's like a fabricate card. Like, you know, you play it, you fabricate, you make your board, and then you sack the big old fabricating thing.
Right.
So,
like I said, I want it to be instant.
I think there are worlds where it's okay, but yeah, okay, I'm with you there. I kind of want that to be an instant.
1 mana, 1/1, Night Market Lookout. When Night Market Lookout becomes tapped, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay, so this is actually a piker for 1 mana.
Right, this is attacking for 2. 2 things about this. One, like, we had a card in, World Wake called Pulse Tracker that was a 1 mana 1/1 that when it attacked, each opponent lost 1 life. This trigger's better than that, and that card was like, okay, like as a 1-drop aggressive creature. This, however, has a secret secondary ability in
Vehicles.
Get in your cars.
Get in your cars.
Yeah, so like, yeah, okay, you play this on turn 1, get like 2 attacks out of it before they finally play a blocker, and you're like, okay, this card's worthless, or is it?
Yeah.
So
I like it.
It needs cars to work and to be aggressive, but black is really aggressive in the set already. So
That's true.
we have like the 3/1 for 2, the bear that's not a bear.
Oh,
we got the Gear Hulk.
All right, 6 mana, 5/4 mana.
I knew you were gonna love this one.
When Noxious Gear Hulk enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. Creature is destroyed this way. You gain life equal to its toughness. That's like the best kind of Necrotal.
Right. So this is the like Trump Gear Hulk. Like this is the like Gear Hulk that, you know, kills all the other Gear Hulks, but you know, all of them do a thing, and this thing is pretty goddamn good. Like, kill your best creature, gain 4 life or whatever, and also now I have a 5-power menace creature. Like, talk about like the best Necrotal / Shriek Maw.
Yeah, I'll play this all day, every day.
Yeah, I love that thing.
All right. A little oval chase daredevil. 4 mana 4/2. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return it from the graveyard to your hand. That's really fucking good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It can block, which usually cards with this effect don't have the ability to block. It doesn't go from like Grave to Play goes to hand, so you have to recast it. But it's a 4/2 for 4, which is almost like, because of the recursion, it's a lot more acceptable.
Right.
Um, the idea here is that like it's this, like, she's this ace pilot. Like
Yeah.
every time another car comes in, she just shows up. It's like, I'm here.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this card. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Prakata Club Security. 4 mana 3/4. The end.
I should find it. There was somebody had done a very good post on pronunciation guides for this.
Okay.
I know the K of this is like a hard kahata, and if I remember it right, I'll have to find I'll have to find that that in here anyway. Anyway, +1 on your hill giant.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know. All right, Rush of Vitality, 2 mana instant. Target creature gets +1/+0, gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Damn.
I like this one a lot. Like, this is the trump card in creature combat, where it's like, oh, I'll pump my dude for first strike, or I'll kill you. No, indestructible.
I love that this is in black too, because this is like the perfect card for that 3/1 menace.
Yeah, you get 4 power, and they blocked with 2 creatures, and you just knock them out the box.
Yeah, I like it. It is the best combat trick in like years.
I don't know if it's the best in years, but it's certainly great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love combat. I love cheap combat tricks like that.
Subtle Strike is a solid combat trick, especially because you can split it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something to note on that last card is that it said indestructible. They actually just said flat that they're not doing regeneration anymore.
Yep.
So it's just because it's the most obscene, like, rules thing. But yeah, no, a subtle strike. This is also a pretty cool. The counter's a permanent counter.
Right, which is actually surprising.
Thank you, Burnt Head, for finding the
Oh, the pronunciation guide.
yeah. So
Syndicate Trafficker. Another 2 mana 3/1. Pay 1, sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on it. It gains indestructible. Dear Lord!
do you remember Arcbound Ravager?
Do you remember Ravager?
This is kind of this is pulling it in my head, because it doesn't have the modular where it just passes off the counters, but this is invincible.
Yeah. Like, why do you need to pass off the counters if your guy can't die?
Yeah. All those rings.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is good.
This is a really good guy. Thriving Rats. 2 mana 1/2. Energy when it comes into play. When it attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. Yep. I think I'd rather have the turtle, but I'd be okay with it.
It's a 2/3 attacking. It's something to do with energy. Something to make energy.
Mighty Conclusion. 5 mana. Destroy target creature. You gain 1 life for each artifact you control. That is a black kill spell that doesn't say non-black. I will play it all day, every day.
To me, it's a black kill spell that says the word instant on it.
Oh, also that.
Usually this thing's a sorcery. Like, every other time this card exists, it's like a 5 mana sorcery. This ain't a sorcery. This is, like, you remember in, like, Oath of the Gatewatch, I think it was, where every single time you thought a card was an instant, it was a sorcery?
Uh-huh.
Sort of the opposite these days, I suppose.
I am okay with this.
Yeah.
All right, Underhanded Designs. Oh
no.
I think I probably would have.
I mean, come on. Like, that's not subtle enough, buddy. Anyway.
All right, 2 mana enchantment. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. 2, sacrifice Underhanded Designs. Destroy target creature. Activate this ability only if you control 2 or more artifacts. That's another. I really like that card.
This is really good.
Like, extort until you want to kill a dude.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. All your artifacts gain extort, and then also you just have an onboard kill spell.
Deal.
Again, you have to be playing enough artifacts for this to be real, but
I feel like that's so doable in this set.
yeah, we'll be getting to artifacts soon. We're
Ooh, yeah. Weapon craft enthusiast.
my life for ire.
Yeah, there's a lot of Protoss.
This is the most Protoss one, I think. It's got it has the 2 blades. This is the most Fabricate 2. Yeah, this is kind of funky because like if you just make it a 2/3, that's like generic, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this guy. I mean, I would still play him. I feel like honestly, this should be a common though.
Yeah, I was like, uncommon's weird. I was talking to Gnome about this, and like it feels like this was something that like slightly got pulled back at the last second, like something got removed from it.
I feel like you're right.
But yeah, Gnome says exactly what I was.
All right, I think that's the end of black there.
Okay, and we are at 106 out of 264, so we're not halfway yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards in this set.
Yeah.
All right, Aether Torch Renegade, 3 mana, 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, you get 4 energy. That's a lot of energy for 3 mana.
Yeah.
Pay 2. Epic thing.
That's a lot more powerful in this format than you'd think because of how Fabricate functions. You can kill a Fabricator when it comes in.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right, and then you can pay 8 to deal 6 damage to target player. So late game, you can just like start ending your opponent.
This is the outlet for your energy where you're just like, you know what? Blast you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I could. Yeah, you're right about the ping. It's really powerful in the set.
Yeah, there's a lot to do with a ping in this set because of how Fabricate works. So, and also because Fabricate makes 1/1s.
Brazen Scourge, 3 mana, 3/3 with haste. I like it.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, damn. That's I'm a big fan of like Bogart Ram Gang style cards, and this is
the first gremlin.
Yeah, so gremlins are like they didn't do goblins in this set, they did gremlins.
I like gremlins.
Which are these like little cute little things with like the blue nose because they like to eat the aether stuff, which is blue, and they like eating artifacts. This card's good.
I like it. Built to smash. 1 mana instant. Target attacking creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. If it's an artifact creature, it gains trample until end of turn. Dear God, that's a combat trick.
Yeah, this is spicy. So this is the closest we're gonna get until like brute force, which is just red giant growth. This is as close as we're gonna get to red giant growth, and damn, like +3/+3 trample. This is like power. You know?
Yeah, this is a buster.
Yeah, you don't need to make it indestructible or anything because +3/+3 is
Usually is
enough to not die. So yeah.
Cathartic Reunion, 2 mana sorcery is an additional cost to Cathartic Reunion. Discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards. So, I'm okay with it because it's red card draw net gain.
Yeah, like you're basically cycling 3 cards from your hand, which, like, okay, so it's Tormenting Voice with +1 on both, you know?
Right, but didn't I think on Tormenting Voice you get to draw the cards first?
No, it was discard 1, draw 2. It was the same thing.
Oh,
just lower the numbers a little bit. This is, I think it's pretty dang good, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, obviously, wish I could draw the cards before discarding, but
yeah, same. But yeah, as Noam was pointing out, we discussed this. This is an auto include in Dredge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you discard 2 Dredge cards, and then you just dredge 16 off your deck, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's Chandra.
Hey, Chandra.
All right, 4 mana with 4 loyalty counters. +1, exile the top card of your library. You may cast that card. If you don't, Chandra, Torch of Defiance deals 2 damage to each opponent. You have to pay the mana?
Yeah, you may cast that card. So
okay.
Basically, it's exile the top card. You can either cast it right there, or choose not to,
Or
and if you
shock a thing.
and shock your opponent, not specifically your opponent.
Um, +1, add 2 red mana to your mana pool. That's a hella powerful ability right there.
Mm-hmm.
-3, deal 4 damage to target creature, so most of the time just kill a dude. I also like that you can do that as Chandra come into play and not kill off Chandra.
Mm-hmm.
-7, you get an emblem whenever you cast a spell. This emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. That's a really good emblem.
Yep. So yeah, this is pretty damn powerful because of how versatile this is.
Yeah, I'm
It's TK Cat. It doesn't have to be an instant. It's not. You may play it until end of turn. You have to play it immediately, but it doesn't have a timing restriction. If you remove a creature, you can just cast it.
right.
So, anyway, this Walker has so many abilities.
It really does. I'm honestly kind of surprised that it's a +1 on the map.
Right. This is. I think they're like intentionally trying to call back to Jace here,
I think you're right.
and it kind of works because this is pretty damn powerful.
I see. I'm okay with this guy too because this is a really good planeswalker, but it's not busted like Jace was.
Right, you're not brainstorming every turn for free.
Who thought that was a good idea?
That was also, it doesn't like lock your opponent out of the game.
Also, who thought it was a good idea to only ban it like 3 months before it was cycling out?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm all on. Especially it starts on 4.
Yeah, I mean, 3 turns till, well, 4 turns so you can use the emblem. I mean that's fair, especially when you're getting good abilities like that. So yeah, I like it.
Very good card.
Chandra's Pyro Helix. 2 mana instant, deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 2 target creatures and or players. So it's a 4. Better than 4.
It's literally the card Fire off of Fire and Ice.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm gonna say I will play Fire.
I will play Fire.
Yeah. Burn that can go to the head at instant speed. There we are.
Hey, it's a Gearhulk. Combustible Gearhulk. I think the white one has been the biggest Gearhulk.
Blue one was a 5/6 for the Flash.
I mean size-wise.
Size-wise? Oh, God, yeah, the white one was... Sorry, yeah. This one's smaller than the white one in size as far as, like, visibility goes.
6 mana, 6/6 with first strike. It's a good start.
Except for it's the biggest Gearhulk in
Except this one kills all other Gearhulks.
Well, we haven't seen the green one yet.
That's true. When Combustible Gearhulk enters the battlefield, target opponent, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then Combustible Gearhulk deals damage to that player equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards. That could hurt.
Yeah, so basically this Gearhulk is casting a hyper browbeat.
Okay.
Like you're casting, your opponent either can choose to let you draw 3 or mill those 3 cards and just take damage equal to all 3 cards mana costs, which, like, I don't know, it could be 3 lands, it could be they take 10 and die.
Right. I feel like most of the time I'm probably going to say take the damage. Because just giving your opponent 3 cards when they just got a 6/6 first striker seems like a bad idea.
Right. This is... But then, like, what if you're on 5? You know?
Right.
Yeah, so this is powerful stuff.
But I also don't see, if I'm at 5 and they just got a 6/6 first striker and I gave them 3 cards, I don't see myself winning that game anyway.
You're winning it more likely than
being dead.
Being dead, yeah. So it's... Yeah, it is a powerful card.
I'm glad to see that one of these like sets, like the red one, seems to have gotten... Honestly, in my opinion, like this is one of my favorite ones so far. Like,
Sympathetic, no. Like if the ability if it's removed before the ability resolves, it deals no damage, right? No, it will deal. It's dealing the damage regardless. There is no getting around that.
mm-hmm. Or you're getting the card.
Right. Just because like the card, like that would be like saying if I kill the prodigal sorcerer, does it stop dealing the 1 damage? No, it will absolutely deal the 1 damage. So
But yeah, I think this one's my favorite one so far. I don't know. I usually can have a soft spot for giant red dudes anyway.
it's a 6/6 first striker.
Hmm. Demolish. I mean, it's a reprint, but
It's
I might play it in the set. I might. All right. Let me rephrase that. I might be able to convince you that we need to sideboard this card a lot easier
yeah.
than
So demolish.
Demolish. Fateful Showdown. 4 mana instant. Fateful Showdown deals damage target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. Discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards.
Okay, so one for one. This is another one of the story spotlight cards. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, for this was the card I was actually talking about as far as the combo with that portal.
Remind me of the portal again.
Pick up any number of non-land, non-token creatures, non-land, non-tokens you control. Draw cards equal to the number of cards you picked up.
Okay.
So you pick up your board, you draw 7 cards, and then you just go 18 to your face.
Yeah.
Anyway, also so this is pretty cool. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I like it too.
Like damage equal to cards in your hand, and then cycle them all.
I think that this card should have a morbid line. um, Furious Reprisal. 4 mana sorcery deals 2 damage to two target creatures and or players. A double shock for 4 mana. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine playing this unlimited because it might just be like you bust up your flyer, bust up your it's
It's
fine.
kill spells.
Hmm.
Giant Spectacle. I'm a giant. Um, 2 mana +2/+1 and Menace. I'll honestly be playing this card.
I know. This is almost madcap skills.
Almost. I wish I could have it back. This is as close as I'm ever getting again.
And this is not like the last time we had madcap skills, it was pretty bad. It was like a 3 mana black enchantment that gave +2/+1. This is pretty I want to believe in the madcap skills because I remember madcap skills, so
Hmm. Yeah, I'll play it.
yeah.
Harnessed Lightning. I love this guy. Alright, 2 mana instant. Choose target creature. You get 3 energy. You then may pay an amount of energy, and it deals damage equal to that amount of energy. So, I mean, at worst, it's Incinerate.
Yep. Big note, because of how this is literally 1-for-1 turning energy into damage, this can't go to the dome, or else it would just be like, by the way, 2 mana, take 9.
Yeah.
Like, so this is 2 mana, 3 damage to a creature. It has the same trick that I talked about on Die Young, where if your opponent pumps their guy, you can just be like, hands up in the air. I'm not even gonna blast you with any lightning. Yeah. I love this machine. Is yeah.
Hijack. 3 mana sorcery. Gain control of target artifact or creature until on a turn. Untap it against haste. We've seen this card before. I
It's
mean, at least it gets artifacts this time too.
yeah. This is threatened but more versatile because it can get artifacts too. If you want to steal their car because you're playing hijack, you should probably steal their car.
Yeah,
Well,
Incendiary Sabotage. 4 mana instant is an additional cost to cast Incendiary Sabotage. Sacrifice an artifact. Incendiary Sabotage deals 3 damage to each creature. It's about as close to a sweeper as Red's probably going to get.
yeah. This is like we haven't seen like really playable pyroclasms outside of like a literal mythic rare. Like
Yeah.
in a while. Like there was obviously Kozilek's return, and I can't discount that. But this is pretty goddamn powerful. It reminds me of Sulfurous Blast, which was 4 mana, 3 damage to everything, or 2 if you were doing it at instant speed. And really, I think the sack and artifact is a pretty low cost, especially if it's like I'll sack this servo that was going to die.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. This is a really good card.
Mm-hmm. So
Inventor's Apprentice. 1 mana, 1/2. Inventor's Apprentice gets +1/+1 as long as you control an artifact. Um, yeah,
yep,
deal.
I'm all on that. That card's very good.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm so with that card. I just wanted to note, like we've been brainstorming a red white like aggressive artifact deck with
Mhm.
like this and the one that's a 3/2, and I think it might be able to get there. This is good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to note. I think the card's really like actually has constructed potential.
Well, I agree with you.
So
All right, Lathanu Hellion. And then next week.
I know it's
Well, this is a 3 mana 4/4 with haste, so far so good. When it enters, it gets 2 energy at the beginning of your end step. Sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy. So it's at least here for 2 turns,
yeah. On its own, it gets 2 attacks.
which I'm like really okay with.
Also, like it's a super incredible like 4 power, 4/4 for 3. Like that's I think this is good enough. Like this
Mhm.
is, and if you have other energy outlets like or other energy cards, like something that can make energy to keep this around, yes, even better.
I mean, yeah, in a vacuum, this thing's fine.
Yeah, and out of the vacuum, it might be better. Madcap Experiment.
4 mana sorcery, reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card into the battlefield, or sorry, onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I like that it's random. Madcap Experiment deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed this way.
So white got like the 4 mana pickup of artifact from the grave. Red has to be a little more spicy about things, and I love it.
I, I really like this card. Like, for all those cards that only work really well if you have an artifact, this gets you an artifact no matter what.
And might blow up in your face, and you might take like 10 damage. That's
I
fine.
mean, it might, but you got your artifact.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card because it's super like this is a really good way to do this in red. Like and it definitely has it's strong enough that it might be real. There's a
Right.
couple cards in specific that you could like build your deck around to put into play with this that like when we did our Scars draft last week, we saw Platinum Empyrean, which says that your life total can't change.
Right.
Um, if you put that card into play with this, it'll be in play before you take the damage, which will just fail to hit you. Yeah. So,
I like it.
yeah.
Maulfist Doorbuster. This guy. 4 mana 4/2. Gets 2 energy when it comes into play. When Doorbuster attacks, you may pay 1 energy. If you do, target creature can't block. Yeah, I could see this guy doing some work.
I love this card's name.
Maulfist
Malphus
Doorbuster.
Doorbuster. Yeah. It's this is a really good way to like, you crunch hard fist. This is definitely a space mutiny name. That's definitely what this guy is. No, this is a really good way to be like aggressive and get your blocker out of the way.
Right. I mean, which is really good when you have a 4/2.
Mm-hmm. So I'm also energy.
Also energy. I think there's definitely a decent amount of energy. That.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pia Lalard. 3 mana 2/2. It's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
When Pia Lalard enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. A 2 target artifact creature gets +1/+1 until on a turn. 1 sacrifice an artifact target creature can't block this. I like this card.
This does a lot for how little, like
Hmm.
for just on its own, 2/2 win a 1/1 with flying. Like, okay, I'm all in on that. I've played cards that are worse than that a lot of times.
Right.
Um, all the additional abilities are really good as well.
Right.
Like, okay, like the little Thopter I made, I could pump it and attack you for 3 in the air. Or late game, I can be like, oh, I'll sack the Thopter, your blocker can't block, and I get in.
Yeah, this kind of thing. This actually has a decent amount of like late game buster action.
Right, for a 3 mana card.
Yeah,
So,
deal. Quick Smith Genius. Mana 3/2. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. I like the order of that discard a card. Oh, actually, no, I'm a liar. I don't want that. I want the
nope.
other way.
You want it the other way, but you're not ever going to get it in that way in red.
Yeah, I know I won't. But also, it comes in a really good body, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, 3/2 for 3. Like, I'm all for that, especially like late game. You're like, I'll play this artifact, I'll discard a land, and try to get more, you know, business.
Yeah.
Love how pumped I got.
Fuck yeah, artifacts. Alright, 2 mana 1/3, Reckless Fireweaver. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, deals 1 damage to each opponent.
So I can't see this card without thinking, like, you go Techie Walk.
Yeah, he's shooting a dragon.
Like, that's definitely what's going on this card's art, is Hanzo's ulting, which I guess deals 1 damage to each opponent, so that's a little lame, but the card itself is actually really good.
I mean, I we've played 2 mana 1/3s without abilities before, and like this is an okay ability.
Well, it's pretty dang. Well, it's free is its biggest
Right.
upside. Is like it's not like pay 1. Like we've seen a couple cards that are like pay 1 or this. No, this is like if you play things that make servos, you just get 2 free damage off of them.
Right. This could be another one of it's common. It could be another one of those things, kind of like that. The wall deck where you just kind of like sit behind walls until you're. I don't remember what that card was called, but
Vent Sentinel.
Van Sentinel. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that happening in limited.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Renegade Tactics. 1 mana, target creature can't block this turn. Draw a card. Cantrip.
I would say that says draw a card on it.
Yep. Deal.
I can't hate it.
Because it can be replaced with something else.
Well, especially 1 mana.
Yeah, it's 1 mana. All right, Ruinous Gremlin. 1 mana, 1/1. 3 sacrifice Ruinous Gremlin. Destroy target artifact. In this set, I am perfectly fine playing this card, man.
Yeah, a bit expensive on it. But yeah, this will make sure you don't get run over by cars.
I mean, and 1 mana, 1/1s. I mean, like, aren't gonna do that much, but they do things. I've seen 1 mana 1/1s hit for like half someone's life total.
I was telling Gnome about this. That card is actually the best artifact removal spell in Standard in Red.
That's kind of
I know. I know. I'm aware.
all right. Salivating Gremlins. 3 mana 2/3. When an artifact enters your battlefield under your control, Salivating Gremlins get +2/+0 and gains Trample until on a turn. This card's really good.
We've seen a running theme on red cards where they care about artifacts coming into play, and they're all pretty dang good. Like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is already a 2/3 for 3, which was like, yeah, okay, that's baseline, fine. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I played a thing that made 2 servos, all attack for 6, trample.
Oh dear God, yeah, servos make that happen.
Yeah, good reason to want to make the servos.
Yay, reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually really like this. That's a comment too. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. Sky Ship Stalker. All right, so this guy's protecting the whale.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's a 4 mana 3/3 flying. Pay. All right, it's got fire breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It can gain first strike with its
Mm-hmm.
fire breathing, and you can give it haste.
Mm-hmm.
This guy just comes out of nowhere and eats everything.
You can't kill it in combat. That's basically never happening
Yep.
because it's going to be like 6 power first strike flying. So
Would play this guy big out any of those like 4 mana 3/3 flyer.
yeah, I know, but also I think this is the little the thing that was on pressure point. This is
Oh,
like
I think you're right.
this is like a cat dragon. Weird. All right.
Two in red. So, all right, Spark of Creativity. 1 mana sorcery. Choose target creature. Exile the top card of your library. You may have Spark of Creativity. Deal damage to that creature equal to the X card. Exile card's converted mana cost. If you don't, you may play that card until the end of your turn. I really like this card.
Yeah, so you have a chance of it missing. You know, if you hit a land,
But then you can just play it.
you just play the land. So it's cycled. If it's not a land, you can just be like, well, I'll have it. I'll shock your creature or whatever. Like you can. Yeah, this is interesting. It's sort of like Chandra's first mode, but it can't go. It goes to a creature rather than a player, like opponent. I don't know. I like it.
I think it's fine. I mean, as long as you don't hit a one cost thing, I'm basically fine with whatever this card does.
Well, even if you do hit a one cost thing, you can just be like, oh, well, it's that cantrip. I guess I'll cast it, and now I'm
Oh
still
yeah,
with the card.
that's fair enough. But I mean, I will play a 1 mana red card that says play a land from the top of my deck.
Yeah, you have to play this before. Basically, you have to play this before your land drop, or else you're going to get hyper owned.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Speedway Fanatic. This guy. All right, it's a piker, 2 mana, 2/1. It's got haste, and if it crews a vehicle, that vehicle gains haste. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, she's much like the first striker that we saw in white.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more of those.
We will see some more in the
We
multicolored
didn't.
stuff.
I suppose we didn't see any in black or blue.
White and red are the two colors that care about cards most.
Okay.
So
This
that card, yeah, I love that card, especially because it's just a hasted piker. So
right. 2 mana, 3/2. Spireside Infiltrator. When Spireside Infiltrator becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Pretty solid on a 3 mana, 3/2.
so if this is attacking, it's attacking for 4, and also this can be much like that black creature we saw earlier,
Mm-hmm.
where if it's piloting, it still is doing a thing.
Right. Deal. Spontaneous Artist, 4 mana, 3/3. When Spontaneous Artist enters the battlefield, you get an energy. Pay an energy, and give a creature haste.
So we have a 3/3 with haste, or you can hold off and hand off haste to something else, or you can just use your energy from other things to haste.
Mm-hmm. I mean, most of the time it's probably a 4 mana, 3/3 with it.
Right, but also it can, like, the fact that it has all those little abilities is pretty cool.
Right. Start your engines. 4 mana sorcery. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Dear God, this card. Like, just activate all of your cards. Also, all of your dudes get +2/+0.
Yep.
Like, this is a kill your opponent card if I ever saw one.
Yeah, you have to be in the right deck for it, obviously, but it is definitely that.
I mean,
You have to. I mean, in the sense that you have to actually have cards.
I think I would. All right, I think I would still rather play this than Inspire Charge.
It's a sorcery, though.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Like that's my big thing. Is like basically I would only be playing this in the deck that's actually playing a bunch of cards.
Sure. Carhorn Blast.
Yeah. Yeah, so the fact that it's a sorcery is what tempers me a little bit on it. But
I don't know. I feel like the because of the vehicles thing, like it's gonna like your opponent's gonna be in like a, I don't want to say false insecurity because usually you're
it
not.
could be. Like, I mean, if say you have like a car and you have like the pilot that would turn the car on, and they think, oh well, they can only attack me for 4. And then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, start your engines. I'm just going to attack you for 10. It's like, where did that come out of? You know, like,
Right.
you're not going to get blocked by a bunch of servos, because I don't think there's a car that can be blocked by servos.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to the cars later.
Territorial Gorger. 4 mana 2/2 trample. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, Territorial Gorger gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So just when you get the energy, damn.
Yeah, it's not even when you spend it. So, because of how that trigger is worded, if you have a trigger that just says, you know, when this comes into play, gain 2 energy, it triggers 1 time.
Okay, otherwise this card would be unreasonable.
I was gonna say, if this card was worded that way, it would be like unreasonable. If
Because there's so many of them that just like give you 4 energy. So like, oh, you play that thing, your 4 mana dude becomes a 10/10 trampler.
if you're heavy in energy, this can be a 4 mana 4/4 with trample, like pretty simply. And then like you don't even need to spend the energy on it, which is nice. However, in basically every other deck, like it's this needs a very specific deck to function, I guess is what I'm saying.
This is probably only going to be get picked early if it's pack 3 if you're in the right deck.
Yeah. If you're in that deck, like this might be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm attacking for 6. And it's like, oh, well that sucks.
All right, Terror of the Fairgrounds, 4 mana 5/2.
Yep.
Next.
That certainly is Cobble Brute.
Thriving Grubs, 2 mana 2/1 with the 2 energy on coming to play, and you give it +1/+1. I mean I'm fine with mana 3/2s.
2 mana 3/2 is incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
We've played a lot of those, even in constructed formats and standard, like Gorehouse Chainwalk or things like that, where it's like this is a pretty, especially if you have other ways of making energy. These are really tiny.
I like them.
Look how tiny those grubs are. All right.
All right, Wayward Giant, 5 mana 4/5 with mana. I like it.
That's big.
That's a big dude.
Yeah, usually like I would expect to see this card without text.
I really honestly didn't expect there to be text when I saw that much flavor text on it, and then I was like, wait, that's not flavor text there. This menace card is amazing. Yeah, I'd play this as a bomb.
Yeah, I'm all up in playing something like this. This is hard to kill.
Welding Sparks, 3 mana instant. Welding Sparks deals X damage to target creature, where X is 3 plus the number of artifacts you control. I actually really like this card.
Again, this is another card that like can't go to the dome because of how stupid it would be if it could go to the dome.
Right.
This card's probably first pick material most of the time.
I mean, yeah, it's 3 mana, 3 damage no matter what.
Right. Even if you have literally no artifacts, you're still like in a good position.
Right.
And if it can do 4 or 5, kill something big.
Yeah, all the big. All right,
All right.
Undergreen. Appetite for the Unnatural. 3 mana instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 2 life. Probably getting played in the set main deck.
Yeah, I would guess so. So one point to note here is we still haven't gotten to artifacts, but I want to give you a bit of an illustration of how many artifacts are in this set. We're at card 141 of 264. You can get rid of the last ones, the last like 20, because they're basic lands.
Right.
But we're gonna have something like 60 artifacts at the end here.
All right, Arborback a Stomper. It's just like I've got a 4.
Yeah, I just got this forest on my back.
All right, 5 mana, 5/4 trample. When it enters the battlefield, gain 5 life.
This card rules.
Oh, yes.
It's again kind of comparing the thing to Resto Angel. This is like no Thragtusk, but when did Lightning Bolt become good at 3?
When they stop printing Lightning Bolt.
I was actually going to say every single limited format we've ever played.
Yeah.
I've literally never played a limited format where I would not play Carbonize or Yamabushi's Flame or Annihilating Fire or Welding Sparks or Brimstone Volley or like literally every limited format we've ever played that's like a first pick.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you've been around Alley Cat, but we mostly only play limited.
Yeah, I guess I didn't preface that, and that might have caused a bit of confusion. Is almost every time I'm talking about a card, I'm talking about draft. Almost every time.
Yeah, that's just kind of what we play.
Yeah. Speaking of that, though, this is incredible in draft because we're talking. So a 5/4, basically a 5/4 no text is what we call Feral Worm, Feral Worm, which is baseline fine. Then it has Trample. That's great. Also gain 5 life.
Like, let's just have a bunch of good things happen to us now.
Yeah. I'm good with that. Blink this. Just keep blinking it.
All right, Architect of the Untamed, 3 mana 2. Elf Artificer Druid. So elves get 2 jobs and humans have no jobs. I don't
Wow.
know how I feel about this.
Wow.
Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, get an energy. It's another good energy maker. Pay 8 energy. Make a 6/6 colorless beast artifact creature token. Pretty good under 3 drop.
Feral Cruciak's the one I'm thinking of, Burned Head. That's the one that's stuck in my head. I couldn't think of Spined Worm, and I combined Spined Worm and Feral Cruciak. All right, no, this card is pretty dang good because this is another one of the few cards we have that's like an endless energy source.
Right. Like, I mean, you get the right cards like 2 turns after this, and you're making a 6/6.
Right. And also, you still have a 3-mana 2/3, which we've again established as like, yeah, that works just fine. We have a lot of 2/3s and 3/2s at 3, and they kind of can bounce off each other or kill each other. So
Right. Armorcraft Judge. 4-mana 3/3, so we got our Hill Giant. When Armorcraft Judge enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. This card is real good.
oh, we don't have the images for the tokens in our stuff here. We're just going through the cards, sadly. But yeah, this card is okay. So again, Hill Giant. Still a little bit behind the curve these days. But Hill Giant, this is like draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
In its best case, like,
I
yo.
mean, Hill Giant, this is draw a card. I would still play.
Right, and this can draw multiples.
Yep. Attune with Aether. 1-mana sorcery, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library, and get 2 energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mana fixing and energy producing. I'm gonna call it good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've played Lay of the Land, and it's like, okay, I'm fine with this. And if you actually have a deck that cares about it, this is energy is going to be good for you. So.
I mean, yeah, I've picked this for mana fixing for far less reasons. So
Yeah.
Blossoming Defense. 1-mana instant, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Damn.
Yeah, this is. So we talked about the prevalence of combat tricks in this format, and we have a lot of these 1-mana tricks that are just busters.
Yeah, Green always has something like this. Their 1-mana thing that this literally stops like everything.
Right. This is like it's somewhere between Vines of the Vastwood and like a Giant Growth.
I miss wood.
Yeah. +1/+1 on Ranger's Guile, which was an older card that did this. This is a powerful way. Like your opponent goes for the kill spell on your guy, and you're like, no, also take 2 extra damage for even asking.
Right.
Come
Amazing. I like it. Bristling Hydra. 4-mana 4/3. When Bristling Hydra enters the battlefield, get 3 energy, pay 3 energy, put a 1/1 counter on Bristling Hydra, and it gains hexproof.
Hard to kill, gets bigger very quickly. Like, you're not very quickly, but in the sense that it is like with its own ability, it's a 5/4 for 4.
I think that this is probably one of the cards I would just want to have for the energy deck. Like just being able to keep that energy around and just be like, gonna try something because you're never gonna be able to make it work.
Right. So, want to note this about the card. The ability is a come into play ability to get the energy. So if they actually don't have the 3, you can respond to the come into play with killing it.
Okay.
Just like I always like noting these little tricks because they do come up at like pre-releases and such. So it's important to note them. So if you have a Welding Sparks in hand, you can just kill this before they get the 3 energy.
Sure.
They'll still get the 3 energy. You won't stop that. They'll probably spend it on like their next card. But you'll have at least gotten rid of this Hydra that is you wouldn't have been able to kill it.
Yeah, this thing is, if you don't do it, this thing's pretty hard to get rid of afterwards.
Yeah.
Alright, Commencement of Festivities. 2-mana instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to players this turn.
Fog with upside.
We're both saying the opposite.
Well, it's a fog that only stops damage to players, so you can still make advantageous blocks.
Yeah. True.
And you literally might not have advantageous blocks.
I mean, either way, I'm not playing this card.
Yeah, I mean, When I said fog, that should have been enough to be like,
I mean, the only reason I might play it is because I like the art.
it's good.
But I don't usually.
No.
Owl Prowler. That's a 6 mana 6/6.
Yeah. A plus would play 6 mana 6/6 again.
Yep.
Yeah, see, it's a really good fog, but the higher side of a really good fog still isn't like, wow, this is the most amazing card in Magic. It's just you have a good fog.
Right. Um, I don't like this card.
It's a reprint.
Is it?
This is a reprint from, oh god, this was last reprinted in, it was in Mirrodin, and I want to say Tempest block. Creeping Mold. It was Tempest. Creeping Mold, Magic the Gathering, Mirrodin. Yeah, Mirrodin, 8th edition. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Visions. It's even older than that, not Tempest.
I mean, I would still play this card in limited, but I will tell you why I don't like it.
Why is that?
There was already a 3 mana one that killed artifact and enchantment. I could care less about the land. And also, this takes up your uncommon slot. The other one was common. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I would still play this
Yeah.
in
I mean,
limited, but
it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna have something to hit.
I just I just don't know. I don't feel like that's how a set should work. Where I want to play the common over the uncommon when they do the same damn thing.
The fact that it can hit lands can actually matter, though. Like you can have that game where your opponent misses their land drop on 3, and you just start going.
That's true. I agree. I don't know. I can
like,
still hate it for irrational
I
reasons.
know, I know. I've played with this card a lot in the past. I've played with this card in the past, so I feel it's fine. Yeah, it was Mirrodin.
It's still better than Demolish.
Yeah, it makes Demolish look like crap.
Cultivator of Blades, 5 mana, 1. Fabricate 2.
It's funny. Like I like Creeping Mold, but I hate Demolish. But like 80% of the time, they're the same card.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So 5 mana, 1/1. Fabricate 2. When
Wow.
yeah, that's rough. When Cultivator of Blades attacks, you may have other attacking creatures get +X/+X until in turn where X is Cultivator of Blades power. Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, we've had effects like this in the past where you have like the attacker that pumps the rest of the team when it attacks, and this is either the make the team and then you pump it in some other manner with like I don't know madcap skills, not madcap skills, or you make it the 3/3 to start and you have a team to go with it already.
Which, I mean, from what we've seen in the set already, you probably already have it.
Yeah, you might have some team, so or maybe not. I mean, again, you have the choice. So
Dubious Challenge.
this card's dubious.
It is dubious. 4 mana sorcery. Look at the top 10 cards of your library. Exile up to 2 creature cards from among them, then shuffle your library. Target opponent may choose one of the exiled cards and put it onto the battlefield under his or her control. You put the rest of the battlefield under your control. So you get one, your opponent gets one.
And they get first pick.
Why? Why would I play this? Tell you what. We'll look at my cards. You can have the better. I spent the mana on this.
This is right. This is like you go. This is like you go and become the Pokemon trainer and let your opponent pick second. You know, like this is the like they get to pick the one to counter you. This is like why do they get the first pick?
Yeah. We're spending mana on this. Why do they get the better card? Especially like what happens if you whiff and only find one? Like your opponent gets a creature and you don't?
Well, you exile up to 2, so you just choose 0 then, and then you spend 4 mana to do nothing. My favorite was like people talking about this card. And they're like, "Oh, well, you know, when you see a bad card like this, your thought always goes, why is this here?" And in thinking, why is this here? You think of combos to why to make this. So people are like, oh well, you combo this with phage, you know, you get you pick you pick phage on the cards, and then they're forced to no, it says the target opponent may choose. So if you pick phage, they just go, no thanks, I'm fine, you take it, and then you lose the game because phage came into play. Which that's a good combo, is killing your when a card kills yourself. There are really, really niche ways to make this functional.
Or mana, shuffle your deck.
I would never like. There's a comment. It's good with Fiend Hunter. That's not like. It's not good there.
Like you still burned your kill spell on a card you gave your opponent.
Right. Like it's not good. It's serviceable. It's functional. There's a combo there, but you're still going -2 to do what you're doing. Like you know, it's just this is a card, and it's
if you got to pick first, it would still only be okay.
if you got to pick first, it would actually be pretty damn good.
I
Because
suppose you like out of 10 cards you get to pick.
yeah, you pick two. You pick Grizzly Bear and Gear Hulk, and you get the
Okay.
Gear Hulk, and they get the Grizzly Bear, and then you kill the Grizzly Bear. But no, they get the Gear Hulk. That's actually how that. So anyway,
Okay, yeah, we're done talking about this. Doesn't make sense. Durable Handicraft. 2-mana enchantment. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Sacrifice it. Put a 1/1 counter on each roll. I really like this card a lot.
yeah. So this is like we've actually seen a lot of these cards where it's like, okay, when when something happens, you can pay 1 and get a plus effect. We saw like the one that's like get some energy. There's the one that's like, you know, you deal some damage, you drain life, and this is like you pump your team as they come into play, and also you pump the team later, which it's a bit expensive for that, but
Um, I mean, this makes that Hill Giant a lot better. One that makes you draw cards every time you have a creature with a 1/1 counter on it.
yeah, a bit expensive for that. But yes, it does function very well in that sense.
I'm cutting out.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know what it is, but because you sound fine to me, but apparently the stream has been
Okay, give me 2 seconds here. I'm gonna replug my mic.